I love this country, and I was born here. And I've written many songs glorifying it, but it ain't perfect. Now I'ma write a song criticizing it. Don't be surprised now, we are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the skies now. 'Cause we are just the empire of lies now. We are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the sky now. The time is now, we're just the empire of lies now. Need an overhaul, overseas we so involved. I see the writing, it's on the wall. This Babylon, we gonna fall. You think God is looking down and proud of all his people? We kill babies by the millions, he will crush us, we are feeble. He is God, we are man, he's the rock, we are sand. He's got a rod with a big old hand. One swipe, all your little plans, man. Okay, I will not put any faith in the man, I will look to the sky. Are you gonna make it to heaven? It's real, better look in my eyes. Bro, China, Russia, man, they ain't the ops. It's the ones in our country, and most of them making the lies, and most of them making a profit. Take a look at the clock, time is ticking, he the boss. God's coming with a big old mop. Okay, let me get this straight. We kick God out of just about everything that we possibly can in this country. We kick him out of schools, we kick him out of government, we push homosexuality on our children. We tell little boys that you could be a little girl. The cup of iniquity and immorality is overflowing in this country. And we expect God to protect us? I don't think so. Don't be surprised now, we are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the skies now. 'Cause we are just the empire of lies now. We are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the sky now. The time is now, we're just the empire of lies now. Corruption, everybody against the Russian. But I don't trust the production, they line using seduction. The devil pulling them strings, the TV ain't what it seems. He coming no other relief, but until I die I'ma pull up my sleeves. We turning the boys into girls and taking the king off the throne. Man, instead of these foreign affairs, man, why don't we focus on home? Got a border crisis, big threat, it's more than ISIS. Point the finger, who's more righteous as the Babylonian whore rises. Everybody drinking from her cup, won't you come here to America? We can fill it up, I'm American, but truly I just think I had enough. Bunch of dummies run this country, things about to get rough. Even on the conservative side, you go to these events, you see cross-dressers, man. Homosexuals, people living it up partying. The world drinks from her cup. You are witnessing the fall of Babylon. Don't be surprised now, we are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the skies now. We are just the empire of lies now. We are just the empire of lies now. It's looking like we're meeting our demise now. Put your faith in God and look up to the sky now. The time is now, we're just the empire of lies now.
Yo! You're so weird, Dean. Dean, you're so weird. Is the mic on? Oh, we're not muted. Let's go. I'm figuring things out. Explosion. Was that a little loud? Maybe we got to turn those down a bit. What's up, guys? Welcome. It's Monday night. We're kicking the week off right. Show today. We're covering all the crazy stuff in the Middle East. It's the Middle East special. We're going to be talking about Iran, the bombings. America bombed Iran. Apparently today, Iran retaliated. They bombed a military base in Qatar, or Qatar. How do you say it? Qatar? Qatar. Some people say Qatar. Qatar, whatever it is. We'll talk about that stuff. Then we're going to talk about another bombing in the Middle East. But this was not with the bombs bursting in the air. This was a bomb with the vest. You know, the vest bombs at a church in Syria. That will tie into the end of the show where we're going to be talking about Christian persecution. If I ever write a book, I think I want to write a book about Christian persecution throughout history. And there's a lot of it happening right now. We'll talk about Yemen. We'll talk about the 10 places where it's the most dangerous place to be a Christian. And all that stuff. What else? And also in the Middle East, we got a late story that I meant to talk about a week or two ago, and I forgot, or I just didn't have time to talk about it. The Air India plane crash. Like 240 people died. One survivor. Crazy how they survived, if this story's true about the survivor. We'll talk about all that tonight. We got memes. We got rapid fire news. But first, before we kick it off, I got to play one more song from our boy Tyson James. This is the last show of Pride Month, I think. 30 days past September, April, June, and November. Oh, we might actually have one more Pride Month show. I think next week will be the 30th. So this may not be the last Pride Month show. But we got one more Pride Month song in honor of Pride Month. And you know, the Middle East, they love the Pride Month people. So we're going to play one more song. This is brand new. This dropped 3 days ago from Tyson, Bryson, and Toby. Toby coming back. Lil Toby talking about Demon Month 3. We're going to play one more song, Demon Month 3 from Tyson James. So, let's get into this. You guys can watch my chair on the little screen while you listen to this song. I'm going to go use the restroom real quick because I didn't have time before the show started. Unprofessional. Let's get this song going. Check this out.
Inside of you. You ain't born that way, don't let it try to lie to you. I rebuke demons up by faith, hope you find the truth. I'm exposing these demons that try to hide in you. Pride stands for the land of the pigs, where they like to be trans and start playing with some kids. That bathroom's for girls, so we can't let you in. Steve, you ain't fooling no one, you're just a man in a way. You're not gay, more like insane. Being gay is fun and dandy till you get AIDS. I just speak the truth and I don't care about gay rights. I can tell the left is mad cause my dad raised me right. You think you a woman cause you rockin' a stiletto? Don't make me get my airsoft, I'm knocking off a pedo. All y'all gonna be burning like the rich man. You are not a woman, just a dude with some implants.
We don't rock with Demon Month. The only Christian rapper steady calling out the demons, huh? Down in hell it won't be demon fun. Jesus come and make you heathens run. We don't rock with Demon Month. Never, I don't rock with Demon Month. Nah,
Real men of God don't rock with Demon Month.
You ain't playing God, you'll never be the one. But when he come, you gon' see that he don't rock with Demon Month. You'll be in the flames if you don't repent, cause God don't play your evil games. I'm born again, you demon, we're not even the same. I point my kids to Jesus and you point them to the grave. I just want them to be free, but you just want them as a slave. You ain't brave cause you came out of that closet. We just trying to stuff you back inside, you just a product of propaganda. You are not Amanda, you are Steve, it's automatic. I will not abandon my beliefs cause I'm a Christian and you know that I'ma stand up on that Bible. I'm ripping every gay flag that I see cause it's an idol. You're a man and you think you're getting cramps and taking Midol? You are not a she, her, you just want that title. And
Man, you think you're getting cramps and taking Midol?
We know that you cowards love the fame more than the truth. I got the proof. It's almost like that you don't want them to be free. You made 100 songs and still ain't called out the LGBT. Holy smokes. We don't rock with Demon Month. The only Christian rapper steady calling out the demons, huh? Down in hell it won't be demon fun. Jesus come and make you heathens run.
You don't rock with Demon Month.
Never, I don't rock with Demon Month. Nah, real men that God don't rock with Demon Month. You
don't rock with Demon Month.
Somebody
Bryson.
tell these Peter Puffers since Yeshua season. You call it Pride Month. I say it's a month of demons. Go to Mark 5 so you can see what I'm reading. Who else called themselves a they them? That was Legion. Go look at all
Who
the
else
lies
called
the
some a
media
they them?
feed 'em.
That was
If
Legion.
you don't want a wicked, then you enable the heathens. These homosexuals, they won't make it into the kingdom. Romans 1:26, they gon' say Paul was preaching.
Bryson, are you transphobic?
I'm telling them yes. You not a transgender, you just a man in a dress. Look at Chris Tyson, now his whole family's a mess. Repent because I know the one that can cancel a debt. And you're clearly not a woman, it's easy to tell. Look at Bruce Jenner, a child can see that he is a male. And don't get mad, but Blair White has a demon as well. You say I mean because I'm not trying to lead them to hell.
We don't rock with Demon Month. I'm the only Christian rapper steady calling out the demons, huh? Down in hell it won't be demon fun. Jesus come and make you heathens run.
You don't rock with Demon Month.
Never, I don't rock with Demon Month. Nah, real name is God.
I don't rock with Demon Month.
You ain't playing God, you'll never be the one. But when he come, you gon' see that he don't rock with Demon Month.
Hey. Hey. Let's go. All right. Let's get into this news. The Middle East, where they love Demon Month. They have great rooftop parties during Demon Month over there in the Middle East. And then you'll see protests where they're all wearing kadifs, or what do they call the freaking face mask head wrap things, while they're flying a gay flag. Actually, fun fact, flying a trans flag while you're wearing the kadif actually makes sense, because it's either Iraq or Iran, one of those two countries, one of those countries out there does some of the most transformer surgeries in the world. And the reason is it's illegal to be gay. You get thrown off a rooftop for being gay. So what they do is they do a whole lot of transformer surgeries, because you're allowed, if you're gay, to just get it chopped off and act like a woman. So instead of getting thrown off a rooftop for being gay, you just, pretend to be a woman, and then you're fine. They'll let you do that. You just got to get it chopped off. They like chopping up bodies over there. Bodies. This ain't what they want with dropping bodies. That's another song. All right. News. We're going to start with this article from The Atlantic. The United States bombed Iran. What could be next? What comes next? President Trump is taking an enormous risk, from Tom Nichols. Let's see what Tom Nichols got to say. President Donald Trump has done what he swore he would not do: involve the United States in a war in the Middle East. Now, I've heard some people saying, we're not going to war in the Middle East. We're just going to carpet bomb them. I don't know if that's any different. And I'll give my thoughts on this. We're going to talk about the bombing, the retaliation. Putin has weighed in, what Putin's thoughts are on this. The split in MAGA right now because of this. We'll talk about the MAGA people who are like little dandelions that get blown to and fro in the wind. The same people that ditched Trump when DeSantis was running, and they went, "Oh, DeSantis is going to win. I'm going for DeSantis." And they ditched Trump then, and they're ditching him now. No loyalty. They ain't real ones. And then they'll say, "Oh, well, you just blindly follow Trump." No, I'm just loyal. I'm not going to stop because, he did one thing that we don't like. I'm not going to stop being pro-Trump because he did one thing we don't like. And also, maybe it turns out all right. Maybe it's a good thing. I'll tell you why I think that in a little bit. But let's finish reading this. His supporters will tie themselves in knots. That's what they want. As Vice President J.D. Vance did last week, trying to jam the square peg of Trump's promise into the round hole of his actions. And many of them may avoid calling this war at all, even though that's what Trump himself called it tonight. They will. Well, he said I'm pretty sure he said it's not a war, but I don't know what they're quoting, but they will want to see it as a quick win against an obstinate regime that will eventually declare bygones and come to the table. But whether bombing Iran was a good idea or a bad idea, and it could turn out to be either or both, it is war by any definition of the term, and something Trump had vowed he would avoid. They're not going to let me read the whole article. Whatever. We don't need to keep reading from the Atlantic. We got other articles here. I'm going to look at CNN live updates. Yeah, let's check out these live updates, see what CNN's showing us. Let me switch over to... We bombing them! The bombs are dropping. What do you think, Josh? Do you... Well, I tell you what, I don't like war. I don't like going to wars. I'm not a big war guy. But you know what I like even less than wars? The Bakalaka Dirk folk. So, you know? Dirka Bakalaka. Allahu Akbar. I don't like people that walk into churches with vests on and take out 25 people. I don't like those people. I don't hate them. I love them like I love my enemy. If I love anybody, I love the Allahu Akbar folk. If I love my enemies, I love the Allahu Akbar folk. Let's see what some of the recent headlines. Israel launches strikes on Iranian military infrastructure. Israel launched fresh airstrikes targeting military infrastructure in western Iran's Kermanshah city, said the Israel Defense Force, the IDF, on Monday morning. Earlier, Iran's state-affiliated Noor News reported that Israel had struck Parchin, a large military complex south of Tehran, in a strike. That's where Dying Light takes place. When you're killing all the zombies, you're in Tehran. You're in the Middle East. If there's one place that's gonna have a zombie outbreak, that would be a bad place for it. The only thing worse than a zombie is a dang Allahu Akbar zombie. Early Iran, I already read that. Iran launched its own strike on Israel on Monday, firing a missile that was intercepted by Israel's air defenses. China, the biggest buyer of Iranian oil, would be vulnerable to the closure of the Strait of Hormuz. So apparently, they're going to be closing this Strait of Hormuz. And that's where, what did I read? I don't think I saved the article, but something like some crazy ratio of like 70% of the world's oil comes through this Strait of Hormuz, and they've closed it. They're saying it's going to impact inflation. Oil prices could jump up by 30% instantly. We'll see what happens with that. It's just a scuffle of sorts. That's what I'm saying. It ain't a war. It's just a scuffle. We're just dropping some bombs on them. As calls grow within Iran for closing of the Strait of Hormuz, and this is from 19 hours ago, I think they have done it. Or at least they're saying they're gonna. A key diplomatic and economic backer of Tehran would stand to lose from that decision. China. Connecting the oil-rich Persian Gulf to the open ocean, the Strait of Hormuz is one of the most critical oil checkpoints in the world. Some 20 million barrels per day of crude oil, or 20% of the global consumption. I said 70. I was way too high. Not on pot. My estimate was too high. Global consumption flowed through the narrow strait between Iran and Oman last year, according to the U.S. Energy Information Administration. Maybe we should all just switch to nuclear energy, which is possibly what Iran's doing, or they're building nukes. That's the reason we're dropping the bombs, is because apparently they're making nukes. I don't know. I've never heard that before. Have we ever heard that before? I wish I had the graphic and I couldn't find it. I thought I saved it in my phone, but I couldn't find it. But it says every like 2 years since like 1990, they've said Israel. There's been headlines. Iran is 2 months away from having a nuke, and then 1992, Iran is 1 year away from having a nuke, and then in 1994, Iran is 6 months from having a nuke, and then in 1998, danger coming. Iran is about to have a nuke. Every 2 years since like the 80s or the 90s, they've been saying Iran's going to have a nuke. Iran's going to have a nuke. Iraq's got WMDs. Iran's got nukes. Here's my hot take. Nukes aren't real. So everybody's got them. I bet you they do got nukes. They got big bombs just like we got big bombs. Iraq's got big bombs. Iran's got big bombs. China got big bombs. Do you got big bombs? I don't got big bombs. Russia got big bombs. US got a lot of big bombs. I bet you damn Sweden got some big bombs. But no, the nukes. And maybe it is just nuclear energy. Maybe Iran's trying to move towards nuclear energy. And we don't like that because we want that oil, baby. That's what our dollar is based off of. We need that oil. Is that good? No. If we could switch to nuclear energy and stop following this stupid Paris Climate Accord and all this other global energy, climate crisis, green energy bullcrap laws that there are, and just focus on nuclear energy, we wouldn't be so dependent on the oil over there. But we need that oil because that's what our dollar's based off of. So let's go back to the gold standard. Let's get nuclear energy. Problem solved. Seems easy. But I'm not an economist. I'm not a professional economist. So what do I know? I'm just some dumb guy with a cool layout on the internet. And an air horn. Nuclear energy. That sounds nice. Yeah, no. Nuclear. What some people call nuclear. I can't stand when people say nuclear. And sometimes I say nuclear because so many people say nuclear. Nuclear sounds like something the Teenage Ninja Turtles would say when they're eating pizza. Radical, bro. Nuclear. That's nuclear. Nuclear energy. Double facts. Facts on facts on facts. For China, the world's largest importer of oil and the biggest buyer of crude oil from Iran, the Strait of Hormuz is even more important. Doesn't that give us more reason to make sure it gets shut down? Don't trust China. China's asshole. China imported 5.4 million barrels of crude every day through the strait in the first 3 months of 2025, according to the EIA's estimates. That's equivalent to about half of China's daily average crude imports in the first quarter of the year, according to CNN's calculation based on Chinese customs data. I'm sure that's accurate. I'm sure Chinese customs is giving us all the information that we need. On Sunday, I forgot I can mute myself when I do that, when I cough. I got a cough button. Okay. I encourage who's this? Is this Trump talking? Oh, I can't do Rubio's voice. I encourage the Chinese government in Beijing to call them about that because they heavily depend on the Straits of Hormuz for their oil, Ruby said in an interview with Fox News on Sunday. So you want China to call Iran to say don't close the Strait of Hormuz because really we need the oil too. That's interesting. What up, Abe? Abe Dinkus. China remains by far Iran's largest energy buyer, though it has not reported purchases of Iranian oil in its official customs data since 2022, according to analysts. Some 90% of Iran's oil exports now go to China, according to commodities data company Kepler. That word is missing a vowel. Kepler? You can't put a K before a P. You need an extra vowel in there. Kepler. Maybe the K is silent. Plur. Providing a key lifeline to Tehran's heavily sanctioned economy. China has condemned U.S. attacks on Iran's nuclear facilities, saying the move exacerbates, that's a good word, tensions in the Middle East. It has not commented on the potential closure of the Strait of Hormuz. Where the U.S. key allies stand in its bombing of Iran. What's Australia got to say about it? Fucking kangaroos. Oh, I cussed. Sorry. Children. I'm sorry, children. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese. Anthony Albanese said in a news conference Monday that Iran cannot be allowed to get a nuclear weapon. He said the U.S. action was directed at specific sites central to Iran's nuclear program. We don't want escalation in a full-scale war. You know, here's a thought, just for me to be fair. Every 2 years, they've been telling us Iran's about to have a nuke. Iran's about to have a nuke. We got to drop some bombs. Iran's about to have a nuke. We got to drop some bombs. And everybody's like, they're just lying to us every 2 years about these nukes. And then we're bombing them. And it's all a big lie because they never get nukes. To be fair, isn't it possible that the reason Iran doesn't have nukes yet is because we keep bombing them every 2 years when they're getting close to making a nuke? Could that be possible? Could it? I'm just saying. I'm not saying I believe that. I'm just saying it's a thought. Maybe the reason they haven't gotten nukes yet is because we keep bombing them every time they get close to getting a nuke. Could that be possible? Yeah, they need to buy a vow. That's right, Rome. What's the United Kingdom saying? Prime Minister Keir Starmer urged Iran to report to the negotiation table after the U.S. strike, saying on Sunday that Iran's nuclear program is a grave threat to international security. Iran can never be allowed to develop a nuclear weapon, and the U.S. has taken action to alleviate the threat. Hours later, UK Foreign Secretary David Lammy echoed the Prime Minister in a post on X, adding, "The UK did not participate in these strikes. We urge Iran to show restraint and reach a diplomatic solution to end this crisis." That was more a little Australian, wasn't it? Huh? It's a vicious cycle. It's a vicious cycle. Do they have nukes? Don't they have nukes? Who knows? Today, we will find out. Does Iran have nukes? France, what are they saying in France? You know what? I'm not even going to read it because I don't care what France has to say.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
What's Japan saying? Oh, Japan's Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba said de-escalation as soon as possible is more important than anything. But that, at the same time, Iran's nuclear weapons development must be stopped. Saudi Arabia. The minister... How do they talk in Saudi Arabia? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs said the kingdom is following with deep concern the developments in Iran and urged the international community to decrease its efforts toward a diplomatic solution that would guarantee an end to this crisis and lead to a turning of a new leaf toward achieving security and stability around the region. In an Arabic language statement. Qatar. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs warned that dangerous tensions experienced by the region will lead to catastrophic escalations on both the regional and international front. These are all our allies. We're allies with Qatar. That's where they bombed our military base. We'll get to that in a second. Kuwait. I don't even know where Kuwait is. I ain't no geography guy. You could do car commercials with that accent. Don't come down to the... Wait, I almost went Jamaican just now. We have great deals on all vehicles. United Nations Security Council in a call to honor its responsibilities to maintain global peace and security. It's a statement called for an immediate and complete halt of any and all forms of escalation, for a complete ceasefire of military activity, and for restraint of language and self-restraint. Thanks, Kuwait, for your input. I don't know what we would do without the input of Kuwait. So we bombed them. It was questionable if it was going to happen, but it happened. Here's a picture of the B-2 bomber. Dude, that thing doesn't even look real. That does not look like a real flying craft. That looks like a glitch in the Matrix. Look at that. If you saw that thing in the sky, you'd think there was a glitch in the Matrix. Like my display is broken. What the heck is that? Those things are crazy. Like, let's just make the ugliest plane possible. I like B-2 bombers, though, but they look weird from the bottom. At a Pentagon briefing Sunday... Wait, we missed the... Check that out. Cough button. The B-2 bomber pilots who carried out strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities have returned to the U.S., President Trump confirmed on Sunday. This is from CBS News the other day. CBS News captured video of several B-2 Spirit bombers. Well, that kind of sounds nice. They're Spirit bomb. Shout out Goku. Shout out Goku. We got Spirit bombers. Spirit bomb, lend me your energy. Earth, lend me your energy. We need to defeat Iran's nuclear program. Spirit bomb. We're dropping spirit bombs on them. They're bombs filled with love. Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri on Sunday afternoon, General Dan Kane, the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, said earlier in the day that 7 of the aircraft flew east from the base to Iran to bomb 3 nuclear sites at Fordo, Natanz, and Isfahan. The mission, dubbed Operation Midnight Hammer. That sounds so gangster. Like, I can almost excuse bombing Iran because that operation sounds so gangster. Operation Midnight Hammer. What up, King? Oh, yeah, guys, make sure you hit the like button while you're here. You can hit up the super chats, the Cashapp, all the good stuff, but make sure you hit the like button if you can't do any of that. Thank you for a job well done, Mr. Trump wrote Sunday in a Truth Social post confirming the pilot's return. He also said Sunday that the damage to Iran's nuclear sites was monumental. Not tiny. It was not tiny. It was, some say, the greatest nuclear attack ever that we've ever seen. The hits were hard and accurate. Great skills shown by our military, he said in another post. At a Pentagon briefing Sunday, Kane said that each of the B-2 bombers carried 2 GBU-57 massive ordnance penetrators. Damn. Where's Jalen at? I bet he enjoys a massive ordnance penetrator. What the fuck? Pride Month. Shout out Pride Month. Shout out Pride Month, massive ordnance penetrators, or MOPs. Over 25 minutes of total of 14 MOPs were dropped on 2 target areas at Fordo and Natanz, while Tomahawk missiles from the U.S. submarine targeted the Isfahan site, he said. Another group of B-2s flew west over the Pacific to act as decoys, Kane said. How are you going to use a B-2 as a decoy? Isn't the point of the B-2 bomber to be like stealth? So they don't pick it up on the radar. That's why they're shaped that way, is so they don't get spotted on the radar. So why would you use B-2 bombers as decoys if the whole point of the B-2 bomber is not to be seen? I don't get it. Heat-seeking missiles. Yeah, some massive ordnance penetrators. The following day, satellite images show several large diameter holes or craters on top of the ridge over the... Yeah, you got a dang ordnance penetrator, a massive ordnance penetrator. You're going to have some large diameter craters. Oh, Lord. Okay. All right. Let's switch over to me. What else do we got? USA Today. Trump says Israel and Iran agreed to complete and total ceasefire. Live updates. This is June 23rd at 7:23. So that's from today, Eastern time. That's 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago, Trump says that Israel and Iran agreed to a complete and total ceasefire. Now, I love Trump, but I've heard this before. I've heard Russia and Ukraine had a ceasefire, and then the next day Russia bombs the hell out of Ukraine. So, I don't know. Take that with a grain of salt. President Donald Trump said Monday that Israel and Iran, this is new, I haven't read this yet, have agreed to a total ceasefire hours after the Iranian military retaliated for U.S. strikes on 3 of the country's nuclear facilities. So we're getting out of order here because I was going to talk about the Qatar bombing here in a minute. But now this is an update. Apparently there's a ceasefire. Congratulations to everyone. It has been fully agreed by and between Israel and Iran that there will be a complete and total ceasefire, Trump proclaimed in a social media post around 6 p.m. Eastern time, adding that the truce would take effect in about 6 hours after both parties completed military missions. Trump said Iran would take the first step with a 12-hour cessation of hostilities, followed in kind by Israel. After that 24-hour stretch of peace, an official end to the 12-day war will be saluted by the world. You know, that's kind of like is that a 4D chess move? Start a little short war, and then when it ends, you say, look, I ended another war. Ban the Nightbot. Get out of here, Nightbot. I need Nightbot to remind you guys about the grift. You know, we got to step our grift game up. I need Nightbot to help me out. I'm not a good grifter. I'm a real one, but I do like money. You guys pay for all the upgrades, and I do too. We're half and half on this, right? I'll pay half, you pay half. We'll get the upgrades, okay? Give me a wrench. The band hammer will be swift. You going to do an Operation Midnight Hammer on my Nightbot? Not gonna happen. The leader of Qatar helped persuade Iran to agree to the truce after they got bombed. No, after Trump told him Israel would go along with it. Reuters reported, citing an official briefed on the negotiations whom it did not identify. Anonymity. How do I even know this person exists? It's not clear yet whether the warring countries will actually go along with the deal. Shortly before Trump's posting, Israel issued an evacuation warning for a densely populated district of Tehran, and Iran has also threatened new attacks. Let's watch this little video. I want to see what Putin has to say about all this mess.
Following U.S. airstrike.
Hold on.
On 3 Iranian nuclear facilities, the world is waiting to see how and if Iran responds. The Trump administration's decision to strike Iran.
Dude, I swear, if you guys ever watched me playing Dying Light 1, long time ago in the streams, we played through Dying Light 1. This is like the cutscenes in Dying Light 1 is this music, and it's like Middle Eastern news, and there's this voice, and she's like, Tehran has been overrun with zombie infection from the Z virus. It sounds just like this.
Iran has increased already heightened tensions in the region, and it has left many leaders and citizens on edge about retaliation from Iran.
Iran has many options right now for how to handle this situation.
Yeah, that's right. You can't ban him. Nightbot has more power than the mods. Because if you want to know the truth, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Nightbot's true identity is me. I'm Nightbot.
Is right now talk about Iran trying to shut off the Strait of Hormuz. If they do, it would be enormously escalatory. About 20% of oil goes through the strait.
Gaybot.
Other options that are currently on the table include potentially striking U.S. military.
guy looks like Mark Zuckerberg.
Bases in the region, which would also be very escalatory. I really hope that this is a scenario sort of like the previous Iranian response to General Soleimani, where they strike a limited facility and give plenty of advanced warning, allowing for de-escalation while still responding. If the Iran regime...
The Ayatollah Khomeini. Bomb him. You know, Ted Cruz was on Tucker's show, and I don't know if Tucker was being disingenuous or he forgot or what, but when Ted Cruz said, Ted Cruz did have some Freudian slips in there. He said, we're bombing Iran, and this was before we bombed Iran, when Israel was bombing Iran. He said, we're bombing Iran, and then Tucker's like, wait, we're bombing Iran? You just said we're not bombing Iran. And he's like, oh, I mean, Israel's bombing Iran, and we're just funding them and giving them the bombs. But it was like a Freudian slip. It was like, yeah, we were bombing Iran before we bombed Iran. But what was I just going to say? Oh, but the one thing I do agree with Ted Cruz on is when he said that there's been 2 attempts on President Trump's life. And Tucker's like, well, this is big news. Why wouldn't we know about this? I don't even think he's talking about the 2 assassination attempts on Trump. There were 2 stories that we reported on of sleeper cell Allahu Akbar insurgency groups who were targeting President Trump were caught in America. That happened twice. There were groups of sleeper cells who were crossing through the Mexican border, the open Mexican border. They were coming over from the Middle East into Mexico, crossing through the border. They found 2 separate sleeper cell groups of terrorists with intentions to take out President Trump. So I don't know if Tucker never heard about that or maybe he forgot, but I remember we covered it on the show. So, yeah, there were plans of attacks on President Trump besides just the kid that was on the rooftop. That dude was probably a MK Ultra CIA op. And then the dude at the golf course, I don't even know what the story is with that. We're not going to get any information about that. But there were sleeper cell groups of Muslims who were trying to kill Trump that were caught. So I don't know if Tucker doesn't remember that or what, but yeah, it was happening. Got to take out the Ayatollah.
He decides to escalate the scenario and that drags the U.S. into a conflict, then this could be...
This show's going to get a damn fatwa put on my head. I'm going to get a fatwa.
A long haul for the U.S.
What is the timetable the president has given Iran right now to come to the negotiating table?
He has made his message to Iran quite clear.
I think hypothetically it is possible that Iran would just allow the U.S. to strike and then pursue some type of diplomatic settlement. It is quite clear that Iran is pretty outmatched when it comes to sustaining a protracted conflict against Israel and now the United States as well.
Yep, and they did. They gave up pretty quick. It's over, according if that last article we read was true. You got to remember when stuff like this is happening, you know, we're just reading the news. We don't know of any of this, what's real, what's fake. We don't really know the truth. So, but apparently they gave up pretty quick. But what's interesting is after we bombed those nuclear sites, they said there was no radiation or uranium, you know, dispersed into the air, which should happen if you're hitting a nuclear facility, allegedly. You know, Chernobyl, we could never go back to Chernobyl, even though there's German shepherds running around living their best life out there in Chernobyl. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, they're never going to be able to redevelop that land. There's going to be 3-headed zombies walking around there. They're never going to be able to go back. 6 weeks later, the president or whatever of Japan is walking around Hiroshima and he's like, well, we're going to have to redevelop this land. And then they built it all back up within like 6 months. More people were killed in fire bombings in Tokyo than Hiroshima and Nagasaki. I'm telling you guys, nukes are just big bombs, and they're not really even that big. They say they got a 400 megaton nuke that could take out all of Florida. Bullshit. I call bullshit on that. That's bullshit. If they dropped a nuke in New York, all of the northeastern United States would be gone. No, it wouldn't. No, that's not true. That's a lie. Go back and watch the show that I did on Nukes Are Fake. We went deep into it. I don't have time to get into it right now. But the nukes are fake. They're just big bombs. The sun makes radiation. Put on some dang sunscreen. You'll be fine. Watch the videos of the people watching the nuke test. They had sunscreen on their face. And you think they're sitting 3 miles away from that explosion? No. They're like 100 feet away. Watch the videos of the nuke going off in the house that gets blown away. Where's the camera at? How come there's a camera in the living room of this house that gets totally destroyed and the camera doesn't even shake? And it's in black and white. That was a model. That was a little freaking model, and they set off a firecracker. It's not real. Anyway, what did Putin have to say about all this? Well, first, before we get into Putin, let's see Trump talking about it. I should have played this first. I have my articles a little out of order here. But let's watch Trump talking about it earlier in the week, and then we'll see what Putin had to say about this whole ordeal.
A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the 3 key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime, Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel.
And I don't want to hear anybody who talks about power through strength, force doctrine, power through strength, saying, oh, Trump's starting a war. He bombed Iran. Oh, I don't like Trump anymore. Shut up. You want power through strength? Or do you want soft Trump? I like this Trump. It's going to be a lot easier if we do it again. We sent them a little message. They better heed the advice. We want peace. The way we get peace is by dropping bombs on your ass. Do I like bomb droppings? No. But what do I dislike more? People who go into churches with suicide vests. That's what I like even less.
Been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services in this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan Raisin Cane, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military
Raisin
minds
Cane's
involved
chicken.
in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight, not even close. There has never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular,
that's right,
God. I want to just say we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Let's go. What did Vladdy have to say about this? Vladimir Putin has called the U.S. strikes on Iran an unprovoked aggression. In his first comments on the military action ordered by President Donald Trump, the Russian president said Moscow was making efforts to help Tehran as he sat down for talks on Monday with Abba Araghchi, Iran's former minister. This is an absolute Russia. I can't do Russia right now. This is an absolute unprovoked act of aggression against Iran. It has no basis or justification. Oh, yeah, we could do Zelensky. This is an absolute unprovoked act of aggression. I sound like Japanese or something. Putin said, according to Russia's state TASS news agency, he added that Russia was making efforts to provide assistance to the Iranian people. The U.S. struck Iran's nuclear sites. On Saturday night using 30,000-pound bunker buster bombs. I thought they were massive ordnance penetrators. What's up, Jeremy? The strikes have brought the U.S. directly into Israel's ongoing conflict with Iran and heightened fears of an all-out regional conflict. Trump on Saturday evening said the U.S. has completed a very successful attack against 3 Iranian nuclear sites, blah, 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 blah. We've already read all that. Iran, which maintains that its nuclear program is strictly for peaceful purposes. We're making peaceful nukes. Has escalated its nuclear activities in recent years. The regime increased uranium enrichment levels to 60% purity, a significant technical step toward the 90% threshold required for weapons-grade material, and curtailed international access to its nuclear facilities. Iran appeals for Putin's help. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has written a letter to Putin to ask for more help. Oh, yeah, that's great. Russia and Iran and China working all together. And that, my friends, is why we drop bombs. Because we don't want that. Russia details how it could support Iran. Dmitry Peskov, the Russian presidential spokesperson, said Moscow could provide various forms of help to Iran. It all depends on what Iran needs. We have offered meditation experts. This is concrete. We have stated our position, which is very important. Form of support for the Iranian side going forward. Everything will depend on what Iran needs at this moment. Yeah, that's not good. You know, you guys can get it too. You could get it too, Russia. Russia issues no warning to Trump. Pandora's box. They've been playing with Pandora's box. Dude, Pandora gets around. Everybody been up in Pandora's box. At a United Nations Security Council meeting on Sunday evening, Vasily Nebenzia, Russia's ambassador to the UN, accused the U.S. of opening Pandora's box with its strikes on Iran's nuclear facilities and gambling with the safety. Thanks, Bree. I've been I've been having a lot of praying to the porcelain god. I've had a lot of conversations with my toilet over the past 2 days. Kablooey! Washington reasserted that to further the interests of its Israeli ally, it's prepared not only to turn a blind eye to the killings of tens of thousands of Palestinian women and children and older persons, but also to gamble with the safety of well-being of humanity as a whole, Nebenzia said, referring to the war in Gaza. Through their actions, the U.S. has opened Pandora's box. No one knows what new catastrophes and sufferings it will bring. I saw a post somewhere on the internet. I saw a post somebody made, and they're like, apparently Israel is only letting Jewish people into their bomb shelters. Israel has these bomb shelters that they built, you know, because they care about saving people's lives, and they don't just dig tunnels to attack their enemies. They actually dig bunkers for their people to go into when they get bombed. And the article said that they're only letting Jewish people into their bunkers, and all these conservatives were freaking out in the comment section. Oh, this is horrible. And lefties, everybody was freaking out. Wow, they're only letting those people into their thing. I was like, that's more than I would let into my bunker. Shoot, if I had a bunker, none of y'all are getting in. Nobody's coming in. When the grid goes down, you're all dead to me. Nobody's coming in my bunker. That's right. Oh, Josh, let us in your bunker. There's zombies out here. Everybody's eating each other. What are we going to do? Please, can we come into your bunker? Nope, this bunker's for me and Echo. Sorry about it. Okay, so that was what Putin had to say. This video we've already seen. His post. What did Marjorie Taylor Greene have to say about it? Every time America is on the verge of greatness, we get involved in another foreign war. There would not be bombs falling on the people of Israel if Netanyahu had not dropped bombs on the people of Iran first. That's my Marjorie Taylor Greene voice. If you can't tell, I'm not a fan. She made a joke out of us wearing that freaking costume at the State of the Union address. Israel is a nuclear-armed nation. This is not our fight. Peace is the answer. Shut up, woman. What are you doing in government? Strong, independent, conservative woman. Any retaliation by Iran against the United States of America will be met with force far greater than what was witnessed tonight. Thank you, Donald J. Trump, President of the United States. And then somebody says, I trusted you. I'm done with MAGA and all your bullshit. My son is a sitting duck on a fucking destroyer, you stupid asshole. Shut up, dude. I fully regret voting for this shit. I wanted peace and America first. I got neocon, warmonger, Bush 2.0 bullshit. Prayers to all the families whose sons and daughters get involved in this mess. You know, I get it. Yeah, I know, Rome. I get it. I get it. He said we're going to have peace. And then he bombs Iran. It does seem like some Bush neocon-esque stuff. I get it. I get it. I get why people are mad. I understand. But, you know, hold your ground. Hold your frame. Calm down. Sitting duck on a destroyer. How does that make any sense? I know. If you're a sitting duck, you don't need a boat. You can float. I get why people are mad, but you know, hold it down. Have some loyalty. I don't like people that flip-flop as soon as something happens. They're like on the other side. You were never down for the cause in the first place. Have some faith in Trump. Damn. He's got this. He's got this. What was your other choice? Oh, you regret voting for him? Who would you vote for instead? Would you throw your vote away? Are you going to vote for Kamala? You going to sit this one out? Then shut up. Anyway, you betrayed us. Your MAGA base. I voted for you 3 times. I would have voted for you again and again, you lying piece of shit. First off, that's not how our elections work. You can't vote for him again and again. He can't run again. Dumb woman. Also, why are you voting anyway? Don't you have babies to make? I'm bowing at Chase for not teabagging. Bowing? I'm bowing at Chase? What does that mean? For not teabagging anyone in Call of Duty. Call of Duty. I've got the Call of Duty. Ever since Bree made me eat that pepper, I've had the Call of Duty many times. He just started a war. Broke his promise to voters. I regret voting for him. Trump needs to be impeached. Shut up. Get out of here. Philip Anderson. Donald Trump is literally right about everything. On October 8th. And then on June 15th, Donald Trump has completely failed us. Shut up, Philip. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I officially regret my vote for Donald J. Trump. No more wars. And listen, you may say, Josh, you're not being consistent. You say you don't like war. You say you voted for Trump because of peace. You want peace. You don't want all these wars going on. And then when he bombs Iran, you're not mad about it? No, that's not inconsistent. I don't like wars. But guess what? This is above our pay grade. We don't know what the intel of America, we don't know what the intel of the Pentagon knows. We can't pretend to know what's going on over there. If Trump felt that it needed to happen, maybe it needed to happen. Is it possible we could be anti-war, but we could also understand that wars are going to happen? We are beset by enemies on every side. There's going to be some casualties. There's going to be some war. Do I like it? No. Would I rather that it didn't have to happen? Yes. Is it going to have to happen? Yes. So when it happens, I could say, well, I wish this didn't have to happen, but you know what? I'm going to trust that Trump knows what he's doing better than I do, better than all the talking heads on the internet, better than all the pundits, better than all the retards on X, better than all the people who change their political standings every 10 seconds. Does the Pentagon and the American intelligence and Trump know better than all these idiots? Yes. So if he feels that it's right to bomb them, then there's got to be a good reason for it. That's how I see it. Does it affect me? We'll wait and see. We'll have to see. So far, hasn't affected me at all, except it's given me something to talk about on the show. We'll see. If it becomes a world war, we were already heading to a world war. So, I mean, maybe we're already in a world war. And this is a necessary step that had to be taken. Yeah, I'd rather we never had war and there was peace on earth and there were no starving children in Ethiopia. But guess what? That's not going to happen. So, we got to do. One of the reasons why I originally voted for Trump was for no new wars. I was pretty hopeful in that and saw how it didn't happen in his first term. And so I was convinced. Now, among many reasons, so out of 5 years that he's been president, he's started one conflict. And now all of a sudden, you lose all your faith. You lose all your loyalty. It all goes out the window because one thing happened. Now, if for the next 3 years, we're just bombing the hell out of everybody, every 2 months, we're bombing somebody else, then by the end, I'll look at the whole thing and I'll say, yeah, he broke that promise to us. But so far, we got one conflict in 5 years. You know, it's going to happen. No, fuck the Ethiopians. Damn, I'm struggling like a no-legged Ethiopian watching a donut roll down a hill. There are enemies inside the house. Don't run up the stairs. Don't like wars, do like peace. If Iran wants peace, then no nukes. It's pretty simple and way too generous if you ask me. Yeah, I agree. And if they were making nukes, then I think it's justified to bomb the bases where they're building the nukes. The problem is we've been lied to before about people building nukes. So maybe they weren't building nukes, but I'm sure there's a reason for it that we just don't know. All we can do is take in the information they give us and try to be critical of it and look at it. But this freaking out and saying, oh my God, Trump's so bad, MAGA's over. I hate you, Trump. Come on, man. Tighten up. Hold frame. Yeah, we're always being lied to. Maybe they're not building nukes. Maybe they're just working on nuclear energy. But maybe we don't want them to have nuclear energy because then they could be better than us. We're not allowed to make nuclear energy because of stupid green energy policies and bullcrap like that. We do use nuclear energy, but we should be doing it a lot more. And there's a ton of red tape, and so we don't want Iran to get ahead of us. So maybe we just bombed their nuclear energy facilities. And you know what? I'm okay with that. Do I wish that it didn't have to happen? Yes. I'd rather it didn't have to happen, but I'm not in charge. You're not in charge. These people on X aren't in charge. All the talking heads on the internet, we're not in charge. And this is way above our pay grade. We don't know what Trump knows. So hold your ground. What's up, William? I'd rather be at the helm if and when shit goes down. Exactly. I have bomb first tattooed on my leg. That's a Tupac lyric. Bomb first. I literally have bomb first tattooed on my leg. I'm looking at it right now. So you don't bomb second. You don't get bombed and then bomb back. You bomb first. We bomb first when we ride. Please reconsider before you die. We ain't come to fight tonight, but it's my life or your life. So I'm a bomb first. JS wanna hop in a He wanna hop in a Rari. I see that look in the eyes. See that I'm running it. Stop making me sing that song. Damn. Why is people always making me sing that song? Now it's gonna be stuck in my head. I'm gonna have to listen to it. MAGA influencers fall in line behind Trump after U.S. airstrikes hit Iran, is what NBC News is saying. MAGA influencers fall in line behind Trump. I'm a MAGA influencer. I'm following in line, guys. I'm just falling in line. But then there was another article that said MAGA divided after Trump's thing. MAGA's being divided. Look at this fucking traitor. You promised us no war and you just started one. All these, dude, most of these people are probably bots anyway. This is the main reason I voted for Trump. I don't want to see any more bloodshed. He's betrayed the vast majority of his voter base. The main reason I voted for him was for economics and border immigration stuff. Those are the main reasons I voted for him. But it's not strength through peace. It's strength through power. I like that he doesn't start a bunch of conflicts. So, maybe this kind of tarnishes his record a little bit. And I'd rather it didn't have to happen. But guess what? That's not what I voted for him for. If that's what you voted for him for, then what world are you living in? We just got out of 4 years of Biden where we're like starting wars left and right. So We got to fix it. Don't read Bree and I's comments. JS, don't read Bree and I's comments. I voted Trump because the left said he was going to cut Social Security. I know. Yeah. Dude, it's like when the left's like, he's going to cut Social Security. I'm like, do you think that's going to discourage me from voting for him? Social Security? It's got socialism in the name. We should have never had Social Security. You want Social Security? How about stop taking money out of my paycheck that I may never see? If I get hit by a truck tomorrow and die, that money is all gone. So I've been giving my money. Uh-oh, now my camera's following me. Hold on. Go back, camera. Go back. Right there. Right there. There you go. I just put my hand up and the camera starts looking at me. Why is my Democrat grandma still getting a check? Dude, I may never get that check. You want Social Security? Get a job and save your money. I'd rather they didn't take that money out of my check and I could save my own money. However I'd like. Or I could spend it. Stop taking it from me. I didn't sign up for this. My great-grandparents voted for this communist gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
All right. Trump announces ceasefire. So this is the newest thing. We already read about this. Let's watch this video real quick, and then we'll move on to the suicide bombing at the church.
Launched a missile attack Monday on a U.S. military base in Qatar.
So this is this headline has actually changed. This article was about the fact that today Iran attacked a U.S. military base in Qatar. Qatar, however you're supposed to say it. They changed it. I think it's like Kiev and Kyiv. They just changed how we're supposed to say it for some reason. Pretty sure it was always Qatar. Now all of a sudden, ever since 5 seconds ago, it's Qatar. But unless those are two different places, I don't know. But they bombed a U.S. military base today. And now, like an hour ago, apparently there's a ceasefire.
Qatar retaliating for the American.
They said Qatar. Is Qatar a different place than Qatar? What am I thinking of?
Bombing of its nuclear sites. The attack came shortly after Qatar closed its airspace as a precaution amid threats from Iran. The U.S. confirmed the airbase was targeted by a missile attack from Iran and said no casualties were reported. Iran has said its missile attack on Al Udeid Air Base matched the number of bombs dropped by the United States on Iranian nuclear sites this weekend, signaling Iran's likely desire to de-escalate. It also said it targeted the base because it was outside of populated areas.
Well, at least they were being tactical about it. See, like of course we don't want casualties and we don't want death, but it is inevitable. But I like when I see tactical attacks on military bases and military targets more than when I see like civilians getting bombed or when I see people running into a music festival and killing and kidnapping a bunch of people, or when I see people wearing suicide vests running into churches. I don't like that. But if there's a strategic military target and we drop some bombs to take it out, I think that's a little more understandable. But that's not what the enemy does. What the enemy does is they run into a Damascus church. I thought it was Syria. Is Damascus in Syria? It is Syria. Okay. They run into a Syrian church in Damascus and do a suicide bombing and kill 20 Christians. 20 killed in suicide bombing at a church. First such bombing in Damascus since Assad's fall. Interior Ministry says bomber was a member of the Islamic State. Shocker. Shocker. Who would have guessed? Oh, I need a Allahu Akbar sound effect. I don't have one. Let's see. Suicide bomber.
Why are you gay?
Yeah. Iran shooting missiles at one of their regional allies, Qatar, doesn't mean unhinged at all. Yeah. But to be fair, they were aiming at one of our military bases in Qatar. I think Qatar is our ally, is what we read earlier. I'm digging these sound effects. Yeah, we got sounds, baby. We got sounds. So this guy who ran up in this church, uh-oh. He's here! Run! Damn. No, this is messed up, though. At least 20 people were killed and dozens injured when a suicide bomber blew himself up at the Mar Elias Church in the Dawla neighborhood of Syria's capital, Damascus, on Sunday. Health authorities and security sources said it was the first suicide bombing in Damascus since Bashar al-Assad was toppled by an Islamist-led rebel insurgency in December. Syria's interior ministry said the suicide bomber was a member of the Islamic State. He entered the church, opened fire, and then detonated his explosive vest, a ministry statement added. This is from Reuters. A security source speaking on condition of anonymity said 2 men were involved in the attack, including the one who blew himself up. Islamic State has been behind several attempted attacks on churches in Syria since Assad's fall, but this was the first to succeed, another security source told Reuters. Syria's state news agency cited the health ministry as saying that 52 people were also injured in the blast. This is the church. What kind of church is that? Looks... I don't know. Mar Elias Church. Is it a Catholic church? They got pews. But they do also have icons, but they have pews. I don't know. A live stream from the site by Syria's civil defense, the White Helmets, showed scenes of destruction from inside the church, including a bloodied floor and shattered pews and masonry. Syrian President Ahmed al-Shara, who led the offensive against Assad before taking over in January for a transitional phase, has repeatedly said he will protect minorities. By minorities, I think they mean Christians. We unequivocally condemn the abhorrent terrorist suicide bombing at the Mar Elias Greek Orthodox Church in Damascus, Syria, the Greek Foreign Ministry said in a statement. So that answers that question. I didn't think it was Greek Orthodox because they have pews. We demand that the Syrian transitional authorities take immediate action to hold those involved accountable and implement measures to guarantee the safety of Christian communities and all religious groups, allowing them to live without fear. Islamic State had previously targeted religious minorities, including a major attack on Shiite pilgrims in Sayyida Zainab in 2016, one of the most notorious bombings during Assad's rule. The latest assault underscores the group's continued ability to exploit security gaps despite the collapse of its territorial control and years of counterterrorism efforts. See, so I'm pro-peace, I'm anti-war, but when I see stuff like this, bro, turn them into a parking lot. Whoever did this, parking lot, that's what I think. I don't like it. I don't like war, but I like this even less. And something should be done about it. This is something that's kind of important to me, and one day I'm going to write a book about it, but I have to do a lot of research first about the history of Christian persecution. If there's anybody who's oppressed, we don't like the Marxist eternal battle of the oppressor versus the oppressed, or the oppressed versus the oppressor. But the Bible does talk about the oppressors. It's almost like every worldview you can get every worldview from somewhere in the Bible, because it's like the origin of all the worldviews, because it's from God. So it is the origin of every worldview. You can find it all in there somewhere in some way. You can even find a little bit of Marxism in there. It talks about the oppressor and the oppressed. It talks about don't be the oppressors. And Christians, if anybody's marginalized, if anybody deserves reparations, it's Christians. We've been fighting for 4,000 years and still to this day. I'm tired balls? What's that mean? I'm pretty sure Syrians are Oriental. I don't think you're supposed to say Oriental anymore. It's not politically correct. And if you know me, I'm politically correct. Okay? Let's call them Asians. But is it in the Middle East? Because we're about to talk about India Airlines. I don't know if that counts as the Middle East, but close enough. Close enough. It's all Middle East, East, same difference. Let's watch this video.
People were killed and dozens injured when a suicide bomber blew himself up at a Greek Orthodox church in Syria's capital Damascus on Sunday. That's according to local health authorities and security sources. Syria's Interior Ministry said the suicide bomber...
Check my PayPal. Do we got a dono? Dude, I don't even know if I'm logged into PayPal on this phone. Oh, wait. Yeah, I am. Hold on. Let me see. Hey. Shout out Gorilla Biscuits for the $10. I've been broke my whole life. Now money right. Let's go. Thank you. Thank you, Gorilla Biscuits. Shout out. I appreciate it, my friend. We're working on a new light. Smaller, better headphone. I'm going to get some Beats headphones just because they look nice and they're smaller. They sound nice too. I know everybody's like, don't get Beats, don't get Beats. Dude, they're like half off right now. They're like 50% off. I got to cop them while this deal's going on. Prime Day or Amazon Prime Days are coming up. I can get them for half off. And I like Beats. They look nice. They're small. It'd be better streaming than these big old clunky, goofy. Well, they're not goofy. I picked them out. My brother got them for me, so I'm not going to say they're goofy. But they are big, so I want something a little smaller. So that's what we're getting next with the Super Chat money. It all goes back into the production. Just about to say it was an Eastern Orthodox church. Yeah, it's a Greek Orthodox church. They aren't trash, dude. They sound awesome. I loved my Beats. I had Beats that I wore every day for like 4 years. They never left my head, and they lasted. They didn't break. Eventually they broke. But I loved my Beats. They're my favorite headphones I ever had. And I had the Studio Pro 3s or whatever. Now they got the new ones. And apparently everybody's saying the newer model, they're a little quieter, but it's way better quality. A lot of people are saying they're the best headphones out right now. The newest ones aren't like the last ones. And also they didn't make it Apple exclusive or whatever. They're better. They're better. There's a reason why they're 50% off. I got Bose. Beats aren't what they used to be. These Beats are better than the old Beats, is whatever reviewer is saying. I looked into it. Man. I know what I'm talking about.
You ain't got the answers, man. I've been doing this more than you. You ain't been doing the education.
Bro. You ain't been doing the education, King. What's BBC saying? So Reuters said 20 killed. This is June 22nd at 4 p.m. BBC is saying 25 killed 1 day ago. I don't know which one of these articles came out first, but at least 25 people have been killed and 63 others wounded In a suicide bombing attack at a church in Damascus, Syria's health ministry said a man opened fire with a weapon at the Greek Orthodox Church of the Prophet Elias in the Dwyla neighborhood during a service on Sunday evening before detonating an explosive vest, according to the Interior Ministry. It said the attacker was affiliated with the jihadist group Islamic State IS. There was no immediate claim from the group itself. Photos and videos inside the church showed a heavily damaged altar, pews covered in broken glass, and blood spattered across the walls. Witness Lawrence Mamari told news agency AFP that someone entered the church from the outside carrying a weapon and began shooting. People tried to stop him before he blew himself up. Damn. Another man who was in a nearby shop said he heard gunfire followed by an explosion that sent glass flying. We saw fire in the church and the remains of wooden benches thrown all the way to the entrance. It was the first such attack since Islamist-led rebel forces overthrew Bashar al-Assad in December, ending 13 years of devastating civil war. Greek Orthodox Patriarchate of Antioch said in a statement, the treacherous hand of evil, or no, it should be like this. The treacherous hand of evil, sorry, that's a joke, struck this evening, claiming our lives along with the lives of our loved ones who fell today as martyrs during the evening divine liturgy. Dang. According to initial information, the bomb blast occurred at the entrance of the church, resulting in the deaths of people who were both inside the building and in the immediate vicinity. The Patriarchate called upon Syria's interim authorities to assume full responsibility for what has happened and continues to happen in terms of violation against the sanctity of churches and to ensure the protection of all citizens. Greek Prime Minister Kyriakos Mitsotakis also called on the new interim government to take concrete measures to protect all ethnic and religious minorities in Syria. These terrorist attacks will not stop the efforts of the Syrian state in achieving civil peace. So that's that. Let's see what Fox is saying about it, and then we'll move on to our last story, which is, we're late on this last story, but since we're talking about the Middle East, I don't know if India counts as the Middle East, but we're going to cover this Indian plane crash. We got to hurry up through these, though.
For joining us, as always. All right, we do have some breaking news that we want to bring you internationally right now. We are learning that a suicide bomber has killed at least 13 people out in Syria during a church service. The suicide bomber in Syria that detonated himself inside a church, it was filled with people, killing at least 13 and injuring countless others. The explosion happening on the outskirts of the Damascus took place as people were praying inside the church.
Today,
now,
Junior.
Already, many groups are already calling this a terrorist attack. That's coming from the Syrian information minister, condemning the attack, also calling it a terrorist attack, saying this cowardly act.
Like, spoiler alert, the guy wearing a suicide vest that went into the Orthodox Church was a terrorist. Spoiler alert.
Goes against the civic values that brings us together, he said in a post on X. The attack was the first of its kind in Syria in years, as it comes under its de facto Islamist rule to try to win the support of minorities. Now we are going to continue to follow this one.
They keep talking about minorities. They're talking about Christians
here for you, but a witness who identified himself told the Associated Press that he saw the attacker, who was accompanied by two others who...
Like, why don't they just say it was an attack on Christians? But they keep saying an attack on minorities.
Fled as he was driving near the church there. So a sad situation that played out in Syria. And this...
That's the media. They don't want to say a Muslim terrorist killed a bunch of Christians. They say it was an attack on minorities. If they said a Muslim killed a bunch of Christians, the lefties wouldn't care. But if they say a terrorist attacked minorities, then that'll get the lefties to be like, oh no. But if they said a Muslim attacked a bunch of Christians, the lefties would be like, let's go. Retarded. All right, last story. So that's screwed up, and we will kind of get more into that at the end of the show if we have time. Oh, man, I hate being rushed. I wish I wish I did the show on a day that I didn't have to work. Maybe someday, if we're ever making enough money, I'll go to part-time and I'll cut my Mondays so the show can go long if it has to, because I've always feel rushed. We're going to talk about this Air India plane crash. This happened, I think, on the 12th of this month. So we were supposed to talk about it last week, and then I forgot to add it, but it wouldn't have mattered because I didn't have time anyway last week. But the Air India plane. Now this is crazy. There was one survivor. Air India plane crash. 241 passengers dead. One sole survivor. Like the movie Unbreakable in real life. The sole survivor jumped out of the emergency exit before the plane landed. Like that's like something you'd see in a movie that everybody would be like, no, that's impossible. That would not work. You can't just jump out of the exit of the plane right before it crashes and survive. Well, he did. So if I'm ever in a plane that's going down, I'm jumping out the exit right before it hits the ground. That's my plan. Let's see this. June 12th. This was earlier this month. That sound is bad. It's hurting my ears. Crashed into, looks like a parking garage. This is from Newsweek. So the crash had just a sole survivor, British national Vishwash Kumar Ramesh. Yeah, that sounds British. 40, who was sat in seat 11A. Police said he survived by jumping out of the plane's emergency exit. I guess if I'd rather just free fall by myself and hit the ground. Hopefully you land in a swimming pool or some soft sand. People have survived reaching terminal velocity without a parachute. It's happened. People have survived from that. So I guess he was smart. I'll take my chances with a free fall, and maybe I land on something soft. Maybe I land in a pillow factory or something. I'll take my chances with that rather than being in this giant 20-ton metal contraption filled with explosive fuel and crash into a parking garage. I'm jumping out the exit before we hit the ground. Smart guy. I'd be hugging the alcohol cart. But yeah, you drink a bunch before you jump. It'll loosen you up for the fall. You could survive. He is now receiving treatment in a hospital. It all happened so quickly, said Ramesh, who suffered impact injuries, but was able to walk away from the crash. He's talking. He's walking. That's crazy. Flight A171 bound for London, Gatwick, crashed and burst into flames shortly after takeoff on Thursday in the suburb of the Indian city of Ahmedabad. On board were 169 Indian nationals, 53 British nationals, and 1 Canadian national, and 7 Portuguese nationals. More than 200 bodies have been recovered from the crash site. The plane crashed into the medical college dorm of BJ Medical College Civil Hospital. At least 5 medical students were killed and 50 were injured, according to the Federation of All India Medical Association. The aircraft is a Boeing 787-8 Dreamliner. A Boeing. Of course it was a Boeing. Of course it was a Boeing. That's crazy. It crashes at... Looks like, had it just taken off? Looks like it had just taken off. Dude, I hate flying. I hate flying. Especially in this day and age. Sole survivor jumped out of emergency exit before plane crashed. Sole survivor of the plane crash sitting in seat 11A. by the emergency exit. He managed to open the emergency exit door and jump out of the plane before it crashed. He was near the emergency exit and managed to escape by jumping out the exit door. This almost sounds fake. This almost sounds like something from a movie. Soul crash survivor Vishwash Kumar Ramesh called his father immediately after the deadly crash to let him know he was alive. He video called my dad as he crashed and said, "Oh, the plane's crashed. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane." That's wild. 229 passengers and 12 crew all died. And this guy survived by jumping out of the plane. Aviation experts suggest flaps were not in takeoff position. Oh, good job. DEI pilots. I wonder who was flying the plane. You know? What are these? Let's see what these pilots look like. We got any pictures of the pilots? No, I don't know. Investigators find cockpit voice recorder. This is more updates. There have been some updates on this. One engine on crash plane was new. Also, they had a new engine and an old engine. And the flaps weren't in the right position. One of the engines of the Air India plane, this is from BBC, that crashed last week was new, while the other was not due for servicing until December. In an interview with India news channel, Chandeskar Khan said both engines of the aircraft had clean histories. Yeah, but they had the flaps down. Investigators are now sifting through debris and decoding recorded flight data and the cockpit audio from the aircraft's black boxes, which have been found, to reconstruct the flight's final moments and determine the cause of the incident. There are a lot of speculations and a lot of theories, but the fact I know so far is this particular aircraft, this specific tail, AI-171, has a clean history. I am told by experts that the black box and recorders will definitely tell the story. We just have to wait for that. So, that's wild. Air India plane crash. I don't know if that counts as the Middle East, but we're putting it in there. Let's move on. We got to get quickly through this stuff. I'd like to get through the memes and the reels and the rapid fire before 8 o'clock. I don't know if that's going to happen, but right now, let's see. Oh, that's not going to work. Hold on one second. Nah, we're just going to do this. Hold on one second. There we go. Okay. All right, guys. It's time for the memes. All right. So, first, this is just a little update. We have some updates in rapid fire news on the Salt Lake City shooting that happened at the No Kings protest. This is just a little Facebook screenshot I took. This lady is one of the organizers of these protests in Salt Lake City. And I think I know her. I think that she used to go when I led the homeless Tai Chi. I've told that story. There were these Democrat couple that used to run homeless Tai Chi, where homeless people would come to the library and we would do Tai Chi for like 40 minutes. And before it started, you would get a burrito and coffee, which homeless people love free food and free coffee. And then at the end, they would give everybody $2 in cash. So all the spice heads would go to homeless Tai Chi and then they'd gather their $2 together, and then they'd go over to the gas station and they'd buy large quantities of spice. And I was for a period of time, I was the leader. I would stand at the front because when I first started going, they had like a real Tai Chi guy teaching us, and he got sick and tired of it. He's like, these people don't care about Tai Chi. They're just here to get $2 and a burrito. And so he left. But while he was there, I would go, and I was actually studying what he was doing, and I learned it, and I got pretty good at it. And so then when he left, I became the leader of the homeless Tai Chi group. And so and there's videos on my Facebook of me doing it. I've probably showed them on stream before, but I'm like doing Tai Chi, and there's like 100 homeless people behind me doing Tai Chi with me. And it was pretty cool. Eventually I got a job, and I got housed and stuff. And so I wouldn't even take the $2 anymore. I was like, I don't need $2, but I'm just here because I actually like doing the Tai Chi. Dude, I would get I ended up leaving because I got pissed because people would show up and they'd sit in the back and they'd be smoking spice while we were doing the Tai Chi. And I was like, Bernie and Marita, are you going to do something about this? These people, you're going to give them $2 at the end of this? They're not doing Tai Chi. They're smoking spice joints in the group. I'm like trying to lead Tai Chi and smelling spice, and I hate the smell of spice. People are falling over while we're doing it. Like, are you going to, and they're like, no, Josh, don't say anything to them. Don't say anything. Don't say anything. And so then I ended up leaving. But anyway, the point is, I'm pretty sure, 90% sure that this lady, because I looked at her Facebook page, and she is also friends with Bernie and Marita, who lead it. And also, they were also, dude, I'm not going to go into all that, but it was a big old, they were just trying to make money. It was a nonprofit. And they were getting all this money for the program, and they were just spending it. And then it got to a point where they couldn't get any more because it found out they were doing like fraud with the money. So they put the donations in the name of one of the homeless guys so that they could get the money from the donations, because they had it going to, it couldn't go to them anymore. So they had it going to one of the homeless guys named Chris. Anyway, she was there one time, I think. So I think I've met this lady. I think she might be the girl that got pepper sprayed on video at the one protest. But anyway, this is just to show the left eating themselves. I'm blocking everyone who's calling our team vigilantes or worse. And if you dare come on my profile and talk shit at me for daring to be white, you're blocked for the rest of your damn lewd. Just like every bitch who doesn't organize events, lets other people do the work and blames us. Plan your own protests. And then when you get shot and you're bleeding out and nobody runs in to help, it's because you're a effing bitch. So this is one of the organizers of the protest. They're eating themselves. And then other people are like, we're leaving the group. This is crazy. 5051 has cut ties. I have that story in the rapid fire, but memes. White smoke indicating a new Jeffrey Epstein has been chosen. Smoke rises over central Tel Aviv. Damn. Next. Donald Trump, a huge thank you to all the No Kings protesters yesterday. I was very concerned a king was trying to take my place, but thanks to your tireless efforts, I am still your president. Great job, all.
It's a man, baby.
Next. How about that? Scientists have just announced today that dolphins are second to man in intelligence levels. No way. Women are in third place now. Women are behind the dolphins. Dang. Next. Anti-ICE activist testicle shattered by a rubber bullet fired in LA. Damn. Got an explosive testicle. We only like burritos that Brie Rodriguez makes. No, I was not the head spice guy. I have tried it. I did not like it. It was not good. Next. Dude, Spice, I wrote a whole thing. I used to make a self-produced zine that I would leave in the library. I would make my own little magazine and then print it out, multiple copies of it. And they had a place at the library where you could leave your self-published stuff. So I had a zine, what they used to call a zine. And I would put it, I wrote a whole big article about spice and the progression of how it went from a marijuana replacement or a fake marijuana. And it used to just be like, you know, you'd smoke it and you'd feel a little funny, and they would sell it at head shops and stuff. But then once it became, because it was just a mix of legal herbs and spices with mind-altering properties, they would just mix them together, and you know, it'd get you feeling a little, sometimes it make you feel a little tired, sometimes it make you feel a little giggly, but it wasn't a big deal. But then they made it a concentrate. They made it into a powdered concentrate, and they would mix it with water and spray it on tea leaves. So it went from being an actual mixture of different herbs and spices to being tea leaves with concentrate sprayed on it. And the problem was, you didn't know if you were getting something that was sprayed once or sprayed 50 times. And so once they started doing that, and then they started adding other things to it, they started adding opiates and amphetamines and things like that to it. So you never knew what you were getting. And the people would be, and they just started making it stronger. Once they made it illegal, they made it stronger and stronger and stronger. This is an argument against prohibition, is that once they make something illegal, that it gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And it was hard to make it illegal because you could just change one of the chemical properties and then it would be legal again. Anyway, it got so strong that you'd smoke it and you'd think you were dying. Like, people would be like falling over. I watched people go from healthy young men to retarded cripple in a wheelchair, drooling on themselves, like totally gone in a matter of 6 months from smoking spice. Spice now is like one of the worst things out there. It's crazy bad. But anyway, next. This is the guy, we have an update on this in rapid fire. This is the guy, Gamboa, at another protest, all blacked out, open carrying. So apparently he was big in the local punk music scene, and he went to all these protests open carrying. So there is evidence that this Gamboa guy who got shot was known for coming to these protests like this. But this AR that he's holding in this picture does have a magazine in it. Now, we don't know if there's a bullet chambered, but he does have a magazine in this AR. So I think it's safe to assume he probably had the magazine in the other one at the No Kings protest. But this is the guy that got shot, not the guy that died. The guy that died was a bystander. I'll give you some updates from some articles here in a minute. We'll just go quickly through that because I've already talked about it in other streams. Oh, so close. Target. Next. They missed the target. They were so close, yet so far. Next. Kroger is under fire after releasing Juneteenth watermelon cakes. Damn. Nobody wants a Juneteenth watermelon cake? We can't make Juneteenth watermelon cake? What's the problem here? Next. A rape survivor and the man who raped her have teamed up to tell their story. TED Talk, he's looking at her like he's hungry. I wonder if Shane's watching this. Shane, that looks just like you, dude. That looks just like Shane. That's crazy. Look at her. They're probably best friends now. Wow. He's looking at her like he's hungry. He wants another slice. He's getting greedy. Don't be greedy, buddy. All right, next. Due to inflation, Dirty deeds cannot be done cheap. Oh, I didn't put that one in here. Huh. Dirty deeds cannot be done cheap.
Beta!
Next. Neither side eats bacon. This is not my war. I care not. I care not. You don't eat bacon? You don't eat bacon?
Two mentals don't make a non-mental.
Next. 10 fun facts. You can't see ears without a mirror. You can't count your hair. You can't breathe through your nose with your tongue out. Okay, guys, you cannot breathe through your nose while you're sticking your tongue out. Number 4, you just tried number 3. Number 6, when you did number 3, you realized that it's possible, only you look like a dog. You can do it. Look. Number 7, you are smiling right now because you were fooled. Number 8, you skipped number 5. Number 9, you just checked to see if there's a number 5. Number 10, hit the like button. That's right. Hit the like button. If you don't hit the like button, my only question for you is,
why are you gay?
Next. No pets cooking bicycles. I do what I want, Karen. I'm a pet cooking a bicycle. There's a pet cooking a bicycle here, okay? All right. Next. Captain, do you know the name of Sherlock's son? What son? No, that was his friend. Oh. Oh, man. Dad joke. It's dad joke time. Now I would up unlike the like that I did. What? Now my comment takes a new meaning if you read it. Now I don't want a slice. You don't want a slice of the watermelon cake? Next. First graduates of the Kamala Harris College of Career Advancement. Look at these girls slamming some hot dogs. Stop stretching your mouth, ladies. Damn. Cut it out. Next. Don't stretch your mouth, ladies.
How about no?
Next. I was going to smoke a joint with some Mexicans. I asked them if anyone had papers, and they ran off. Damn. Well, I guess I'm smoking my joint by myself. Next. I'm attacking Iran because they have nuclear weapons. Why don't you attack Russia? Are you crazy? They have nuclear weapons. Next. How to lose 1,500 calories in your sleep. He's dropping all the pizza. No. He's dropping all his pizza on the floor. That's how you lose weight. That's that floor fast diet. Is that a pic of the BJ Medical College? I don't know. Next, Americans want to be as happy as the residents of Martha Vineyard were when they deported all their illegal immigrants. I know. Why can't we all feel that joy? Why can't we all feel that joy? You know? I'm trying to feel that same joy. Next. I don't know how they come running just as fast as they can, 'cause every girl crazy about a shark dressed man. That's a shark dressed man.
How about no?
Next. Happy Pride Month from Palestine, from the rooftops to the streets.
I am not gay. I have relationships with women and sex with men.
And I got news for you. That means you're gay.
Next. Walk-ins accepted. Appointment upstairs. Walk-ins accepted. Christopher Walkins? I'll kill him with a soldering iron. Walk-ins accepted. Next. Your x-ray showed a broken rib, but we fixed it with Photoshop. Where's my no? That doesn't work either. I didn't put it in here. I forgot to put it in here. Next. Everyone hates me. Don't be ridiculous. Not everyone has met you, Karen. Okay?
How about no?
Next. The child asked what year I was born, and I said 1978. She said, that's not a real year. Real years start with a 20. Dang, kid's right. Next. Programmer, just read the documentation. The documentation. Wait a second. That's a 3-piece. That won't fit into 4 holes. My instructions are not accurate. These must be Chinese damn Legos. Next. We need blung, 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 blung. Commie Legos. Food not included. No food included. Dang. Poor commies. There's no food for you here. Next. The hurricane just blew its way through the entire state. They should have named it Kamala. Damn. What the? Next. Remember when we treated the flu with chicken soup, saltines, and warm tea instead of communism? Instead of communism?
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
Next. Drunk pandas. Okay, I put this in here. I didn't know if it would work for you guys. Is it working? Do you see the bamboo shoots waving? I don't know if it translates onto the stream properly, but this is an optical illusion, and it makes it look like the bamboo is wobbling. Drunk pandas. Sorry to tell you guys, pandas aren't real.
2 mentals don't make a non-mental.
Next. My pussy is open for refugees. If that doesn't stop the effing boats, then I'm afraid nothing will. You guys want some of that? I'm definitely not a refugee. Next. I'm sorry, sir. Your dad was pronounced dead. I can't believe I've been pronouncing it wrong this whole time. Damn. What the? Next. Whitest man on the planet. Blackest man on the planet. Okay. Next. The huge spider in my room is now called Cotton Eye Joe because I want to know 2 things. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Where did he come from, Cotton Eye Joe? Yeah, if there's a huge spider in your room, first thing you're thinking is, where did he come from? As soon as you don't see him anymore, where did he go? He's in your pillow. Nightmare fuel. Oh. Next. Cloud storage. This guy got a closet full of clouds. Cloud storage. Jeremy, this is what Jeremy's cloud storage server looks like. And that's it, guys, for the memes. All right. Enough memes. Enough memes. We still got a little comedic relief, though. Hold on. A little bit of comedic relief still. Hold on 1 second. Look at this emo cow. Hold on. You guys ready for emo cow? All right. Rapid fire news and some funny reels before we get into rapid fire news. Let's check this out. This is an emo cow. Look at this.
Don't let it go to your hide. Cows like you are a dime a dozen. Cows like you are a dime a dozen. She mooed. She said moo.
Emo cow. What's this one?
People say this generation is cooked because of these new parents, bro. These young kids nowadays have no guidance, and it's actually sad. And it's because these parents want to be friends with their kids and act like that's their homeboy and homegirl. Like, they don't get that belted ass treatment no more because the system made that a crime.
Let him cook.
I feel like back in the day, kids had a certain amount of structure, you know? Because they knew if they did something bad, they was getting an ass whooping as soon as they came home. And it's a PSA to my mom. I was not talking about her. My mom is not a child beater. The main
Oh, rules for me, but not rules for thee, but not for me. He doesn't want to get spanked by his mama, but he knows the generation's cooked. Based kid. Next. This is pretty funny.
I just watched the neighbor do 50 push-ups. Do you think you could do that?
Yeah, I mean, easily.
Really?
I mean, I'm not going to brag. I could probably sit there and watch him do 100.
You could watch the neighbor do some push-ups. Dang. Next. This is I had the other one, the Power Rangers one that Resla was showing when Easy was on Resla's stream the other night. I have the Power Ranger one too, but this one's funny. Everybody saw the Power Ranger one that night. Check this off. Freak Off Matters.
It's a rare condition this day and age to demand a freak off.
Sean Diddy Combs. Cassie's side chick Ventura. Young Miami. 50 Cent's baby mama.
Well, then there must be some magic juice inside.
Kid Cudi. J-Lo. 50. Missing Jay-Z.
It's the biggest break of the century.
Executive producer Kanye West. What the?
Bro, who made this, bro?
Family Freak Off Matters. Freak Off Matters. All right, last one. This is pretty funny. Show me your butthole. Show me your butthole for this giant bead necklace.
Ah, nice
Grandma.
necklace. Where'd you get it?
It's a long story. Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yeah, I gotta find a way to get one myself.
Granny got the necklace. What the? Okay. All right, enough of that. Let's do this rapid fire news. So we've kind of already touched on this, but Salt Lake Police released statement about the peacekeeper referenced in relation to protest. They still have not released his name. He still has not been arrested unless they've updated this article with his name. They're not giving us the name of the peacekeeper. The peacekeeper has not been arrested. Gamboa has been released. But this is the part I wanted to show you. National 5051 organization is cutting ties with Utah branch responsible for SLC No Kings protests. So the 5051 organization says that the peacekeepers should not be armed. But since they were armed here in Salt Lake City, 5051 has cut ties with Salt Lake City. There's supposed to be a No Kings 2.0 on July 4th, and people are asking if it's going to happen here in Salt Lake. Well, 5051's not going to organize it. Maybe another grassroots organization will have to help organize it, but 5051 has cut off Salt Lake City. Gamboa has been released because no charges were actually filed because he never did anything illegal. But the peacekeeper who's under investigation, his name has still not been released to the public. I think I could know his name, but I'm not going to say it because it's not confirmed. But through the protest group, I've seen people saying a name, but I'm not sure that that's actually the name of the guy. I don't know. They could be doing a diversion or something. So we will follow this I want to see this peacekeeper locked up, at least for manslaughter. And then other stuff on media could not be loaded because this is the
hello there.
Oh, there's an ad. I talked about this last week. This is the guy that plowed into the crowd at the No Kings protest in Riverside. So we're just doing some quick updates on what went down over the last couple weeks with that stuff.
For allegedly hitting a woman with his SUV during the No Kings Day protest. It happened on Saturday along University Avenue in Riverside. Police say Prentice drove towards a crowd and then struck who loved ones did identify as 21-year-old Alex Carrasco. She
Oh, well, maybe you shouldn't be out at night rioting and blocking traffic and you want to get hit by a car. There was Nick, I forgot his name. I watch he goes to a lot of protests. Or Nate Friedman. Nate Friedman went to a protest and they surrounded this old lady in her car and they were attacking her car. And she jumped out of her car, and this was in Portland. She jumped out of her car and she left her like $50,000 car just sitting there to be destroyed by rioters because she was so afraid. They surround cars, they'll break windows, they'll throw stuff at your car. I seen a video of one where this guy's trying to drive through and he's a Mexican guy. And he's trying to drive through and he has his sunroof open and they're dumping water into his sunroof. And he jumps out of the car and gets up in the dude's face and dude like backs off. But like they don't even know what side you're on. They'll just start attacking your car. So if you get freaked out and you're surrounded by people and you think, I'm just going to drive out of this, and you take some people out in the process, guess what? Play stupid games, win stupid prizes.
He was taken in critical but stable condition to the hospital. Prentice was found and arrested yesterday and booked for assault with a deadly weapon and hit and run. 39-year-old Candace Wenzel was also arrested as an accessory after the fact, accused of taking the suspect's vehicle and destroying evidence. A GoFundMe has been set up to help Carrasco's recovery.
Wow. So you're blocking traffic in a riot, and the person is trying to get out of danger, so they drive, and you're in front of their car and you get hit, and you charge the driver, and then we're going to pay a GoFundMe for this girl's, maybe she shouldn't have been there. That'd be a good idea. What else do we got in rapid fire news? West Virginia flash flood kills at least 8 after inches of rain fell in 30 minutes. It happened so quickly. Apparently floods, tsunamis, and hurricanes, what causes the most death in natural disasters is usually flood water, which is crazy to me. I'm like, can't people swim? But I know some people can't swim. And just like dying in a flood seems crazy to me. If it's only a couple inches of water, but I guess the water's running real quick. It's just wild. But this happened this week.
Searching for at least 3 missing people swept away by intense flash floods. The powerful storm.
Look at these cars. Look at that. So there's a 911 call that you can listen to. If you like YouTube, I went through a phase where I was listening to all these 911 call videos. There used to be a show called Emergency 911 on TV. Me and my mom used to watch it when I was a kid. But on YouTube, you can listen to like the worst 911 calls. And there's this one where this lady is in her car and she's stuck in a flood. And the flood waters are rising. And she's like, I can't swim. I'm in my car. The water's rushing really fast into here. I don't know what to do. And the 911 operator it's her last day of work. So it's her last day on the job and she's just annoyed. She's irritated. She's ready to go home. The 911 operator is a total bitch to this lady who is in her car dying. But to be kind of fair, the 911 operator is like, why are you just sitting in the car? The water's slowly rising. She's on the phone with her for like 30 minutes and the water's just slowly rising. And this lady is just sitting in her car. Eventually her phone goes out. You can tell that like she starts choking on water. So the water's slowly rising and she's not getting out of her car. And her phone cuts out. Later they find the vehicle and the lady is in the car and she passed away. And that 911 operator, I mean, it was her last day on work anyway. So what are they going to do? Fire her? But it's crazy. But it's like, there had to be a way out of this. But they show pictures of the lady and she says she can't swim. So she can't swim. She's kind of overweight. Probably she couldn't open the car door because of the water. And it's a crazy 911 call. But that's what I think about when I see this flood stuff and I see these cars flipped over from the flood. Crazy power in a flood. It seems like, how are you going to die in a flood? Like, how quickly is the water rising that you can't just swim away? But I guess the water runs very quickly. There's all sorts of debris in the water that you're getting hit by. So it's just wild.
They'll say up to 4 inches of torrential rain fell
4
in about
inches.
half an hour Saturday night in some areas.
Like 4 inches of rain? And 8 people die? Crazy.
Homes and bridges were damaged and vehicles were swept into swollen creeks. CBS News correspondent Tom Hansen joins us now from Fairmont in West Virginia, where there is now a state of emergency. Good morning to you, Tom. The footage looks terrible. The scene behind you as well. Just how bad is it now, and how did folks make it through the weekend?
Yeah, hey there, Errol. Well, you mentioned those 4 inches of rain. That may not sound like too much to the average person, but it can have incredibly devastating consequences.
It looks like it.
The scene.
Like I'm not like downplaying the fact that these people died or anything. It seems crazy when you hear 4 inches of flood water, 8 people died. It's like, what? But look at this damage. Cars are flipped over from 4 inches of flash flooding. That's wild.
Behind me, you can see that there is an apartment complex here where the facade has essentially toppled over. People's belongings just dumped out of this building, their lives turned upside down.
Look at that. It like ripped this whole wall off of this building. This blows my mind that 4 inches of flash flood could do this sort of damage. It's crazy.
In a matter of minutes, people here sifting through what's left of their belongings. One person we spoke to was helping his father do that. Take a listen.
When I found him, he was up on top of the hill. He was able to get his dog out. He was sleeping in his vehicle with his dog. So it was quite the scene, actually. It's indescribable. The only thing left was his foundation.
That's wild.
I mean, it's so hard to wrap your head around what people must have been going through throughout the weekend, battling all of the dangerous flash flooding, battling the rain, and trying to get anything out of this building that they possibly could that was salvageable. But, you know, Errol, as we look ahead, this powerful storm system may have blown through the area, but you want to note the topography.
Look at that pontoon boat. That didn't help.
Of where we are right now. This is an incredibly mountainous area. There are a lot of high peaks, a lot of low valleys.
It's crazy.
All of that water has to go somewhere. And I can tell you right now, the ground that I'm standing on is incredibly saturated. It is muddy. That water has to go somewhere. It's going to go down into the river systems ultimately, which means that those levels still could rise as we go throughout the day.
Yeah, post-flood rivers rise. We saw that during the hurricanes that hit that region. That region of America has just been getting hammered. Remember, there was a hurricane, then there was a fire, then there was a hurricane, then there was a drought, then there was a fire. Now there's more flash flooding. That southeastern, North Carolina, South Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia, they've been getting hit. It's crazy. What else do we have in rapid fire? Galapagos tortoise celebrates his 135th birthday and his first Father's Day at a zoo in Miami. He became a father at 135 years old. Look at this turtle. Turtle. You know how he made that baby? He did a little, Shout out to this turtle. Goliath, a 517-pound Galapagos tortoise at Zoo Miami, became the father for the first time earlier this month. This dude's 135 years old, out here making babies. Turtle replacement rate is going to be fine. How come he waited so long to start a family? He waited 135 years to start a family, and that's longer than Abraham and Sarah. Goliath is my hero, and I don't know about all that. Mr. Zoo spokesperson, your hero is a tortoise? Goliath is my hero, and I'm sure he will soon be an inspiration to many others. He's living proof that where there's a will, there's a way, and to never give up. Is he, though? He's a turtle. He's a tortoise. Is he really an inspiration of where there's a will, there's a way? If that's what you're getting your inspiration and your motivation for life is from a 135-year-old tortoise making a baby, I don't know. You may need to reevaluate things, but that's a cool story. Another one from ABC. Trump says there are too many non-working holidays in America on Juneteenth. Everybody was pissed off at this. President Donald Trump took to a social media platform on Thursday to say there's too many non-working holidays. If we keep this up, nobody's going to be working. There's going to be a holiday every working day. It's a commie tactic. The labor people, you do a riot, you get a holiday. They got Pride Month because of there was a bar that wouldn't allow gay people in, and I forget what it was called, but we've talked about it before. And they had a riot because something happened at a gay bar, and then there was a riot, and then they get Gay Pride Month. Labor Day is because labor unions were rioting, the May Day riots, so then we get Labor Day. Juneteenth, you have the BLM riots, and then you get Juneteenth declared a federal holiday. You just have a riot and you get a holiday. That's what they do. I'm really inspired to have kids in my hundreds. Yeah. Dude, this tortoise had kids when he was 135. I can do it too. Who cares about a replacement rate? I got 100 more years. I got 100 more years, guys. We'll be all right. All right. This is a joke post. The Indiana Fever have officially signed Gertrude Sledgehammer, a 6'8" former Olympic Greco-Roman wrestling silver medalist and ex-German Special Forces operative, best known for her role in the Operation Quiet Fist that eradicated an invasive species of bears from the Alps without weapons. Sledgehammer, 39, has not played organized basketball since middle school. Known in international combat sports circles as Isal Hausschlag, donkey throat puncher, Sledgehammer isn't expected to get many minutes until Caitlin Clark is hard fouled. Then the plan is for her to not leave the court until she's ejected. She doesn't speak much English, said Caitlin Clark while removing an ice pack from her eye. But when we first met, she told her, "No one touch you now, tiny, sexy bird lady." I cried. Sledgehammer will make her debut Thursday night against the Valkyries, assuming the players show up. So this is how we're going to stop Caitlin Clark from getting her ass whooped in every game. You know, a little racism on the basketball court because a white girl happens to be better than all the black girls. So they all gang up on her and whoop her ass every game. But she keeps going. If there's anything to make me watch women's basketball, it's seeing Gertrude Sledgehammer getting intentionally fouled out of the game if somebody lays their hands on Caitlin Clark, okay? Gertrude Sledgehammer. Where's my...
It's a man, baby!
All right, next. I already read that one. I got that in there twice. Frisco ISD released video of fatal attack, stabbing involving Carmelo Anthony and Austin Metcalf. apparently this video has been released. Frisco Independent School District has released surveillance footage of a deadly stabbing that occurred. So the Austin Metcalf thing, they've released video. I'm going to see if this article shows the video once this ad's done playing. But apparently you don't really see anything in the video. Due to the camera's distance, individuals are not easily identifiable. Let's see.
Frisco ISD is releasing surveillance video of the stabbing at the track meet that led to the death of a student back in April, but only under very strict conditions. So through open records, they will allow whoever requests it to view that video, but no recording whatsoever is allowed.
What? First off, so you're not going to show it to us. But how do you know if I request it and play it on a stream, how can you tell me I can't record it? What are they going to show it to you at like a police station? So there's not the video's not here. And apparently from what I've heard, you don't really see much in the video because the cameras are too far away. But remember when it happened, we're like, we need to see some video. We need more information. There's not enough information to really make a call on this yet. But it seems bad for Carmelo Anthony. I also saw the Quartering did a story that Carmelo Anthony has fled the state since this video was released. Now, I tried to Quartering does a lot of clickbait. A lot of his videos will look like, oh man, this is interesting. I want to watch this. And you'll watch the video and it's like garbage. But I tried to find any information I could. There are some stories that he, due to threats to his family, they're living in an undisclosed location. But I don't know if that's out of the state. But what Jeremy was saying from the Quartering is that since this video release, he's fled the state. I couldn't find anything corroborating that, and so I'm not going to clickbait you guys. But that's what word on the street is. And then last but not least, Jon Jones is retired from the UFC. Dana White announced a couple days ago. Jon Jones has retired. Tom Aspinall is now the undisputed heavyweight champ. He lost probably 2 years of the most important part of his career and millions of dollars potentially from fights that he could have been having, but he wasn't fighting because he was waiting for the fight with Jon Jones. And Dana said 100% confirmed this fight is happening. And then 2 months later, Jon Jones has retired from the UFC. The fight's not happening. So the heavyweight division has been destroyed for the last 2 years because of Fairy Boys not wanting to fight Tom Aspinall and rather run around with lady boys in Taiwan. So, and now he quits. He said in an interview with Nelk Full Send podcast that he walked off of because, what's his name? Stewie or whatever dude's name is, asked him, what would it take for you to fight Tom Aspinall? And he got up and left the interview. He ended the interview. He said Tom Aspinall just isn't ready yet. He's not there. He doesn't deserve the fight yet. And he said he would rather fight established legacy dynasty fighters in super fights, is what Jon Jones said. So what you're saying is you want to fight old, washed up, retired fighters because you're old. And you're scared to fight Tom Aspinall. He said he doesn't want to fight some rookie up-and-comer. He wants to fight established legacy dynasty fighters for super fights, which means he wants to fight old people who aren't fighting anymore and have super fights like, I don't know, who are you going to fight? George St. Pierre? Who are you going to fight? Freaking people you've already fought before? How come you're not going to fight the young up-and-comer, the beast in the game right now because you're scared? But he's retired. Tom Aspinall's the new champ. Looks like Cyril Gane is the logical, Cyril Gane is ranked second now. Tom Aspinall's ranked first. looks like that's the heavyweight fight that's gonna be lined up. If Cyril Gane wins, it's gonna be really sad, but I don't think he's gonna beat Tom. Other than that, I don't know who else Tom's gonna fight that's gonna pose any sort of challenge other than Cyril Gane. Potentially Ngannou. Ngannou may come back to the UFC, but from what Dana said, it doesn't seem likely. Ngannou said it's possible he could come back to the UFC, but he's a headache for the UFC. Dana doesn't like him. Dana loves John, but he doesn't like Ngannou. Dana White shuts down Francis Ngannou returning to the UFC. Ngannou responds. I mean, that would be a good challenge for Tom. But it looks like all we got to look forward to now for the heavyweight division is Gane versus Aspinall. So we'll see what happens with that. But that's it for the rapid fire news. Now for the last 20 or 30 minutes or so, we're going to talk about Christian persecution. This is the Middle East show. In the Middle East, like we saw with the Syria bombing, church bombing, Christians have been more persecuted. If anybody's oppressed, if we want to sound like Marxists, if anybody's been oppressed throughout history, it's the Christians. So we're going to look at some of these things. We're going to talk about what. Oh, hold on, I opened these in the wrong thing. Tehran or Yemen. In Yemen, and media is not reporting on this. Like, it's hard to find an article about it that isn't from a biased, Christian persecution group like Open Doors, etc. So we are going to look at some of their pages. I tried to find some news articles, but a lot of people aren't talking about this. And I've known about it for a while, and we haven't really looked into it too much. So we're going to look at it now. Just some cursory information from Google AI. Sadly, statistics indicate that Christians are being killed for their faith in various parts of the world. Average daily killings, roughly 13 Christians are killed each day for their faith, which equates to about 5,000 per year. In 2024, approximately 4,476 Christians were killed for faith-related reasons. Nigeria accounts for a large percentage of these deaths, with 70% of reported faith-related killings of Christians in 2024 occurring there. Attacks on Christians in Nigeria have been on the rise since 2020. Other regions experiencing high rates of violence against Christians include other countries in sub-Saharan Africa, such as DRC, Burkina Faso, Cameroon, and Niger. I almost said that word wrong, the way it's spelled, as well as Myanmar, Yemen, and Sudan. Nigeria remains the deadliest country for Christians. Despite fewer killings in 2024 compared to 2023, Nigeria continues to be disproportionately deadly for Christians. In addition to killings, Christians face various forms of persecution, including detention without trial, arrest, sentencing, and imprisonment, abduction, rape, sexual harassment or forced marriage, physical or mental abuse, and forced displacement. The statistics mentioned are estimates based on reports from organizations like Open Doors, which often rely on verifiable reports, and many represent an undercount of the actual number of incidents. If you look up Christians being killed in Yemen, you won't see any. You won't see AP, you won't see NPR, you won't see CBS or NBC or anything like that reporting on it. All you're going to see is stuff from this Open Doors group, which is a group that focuses on the persecution of Christians across the globe. Because mainstream media doesn't talk about this. So, Open Doors International, it's opendoors.org. We're going to go to their website. We're going to look at this real quick. The 10 most dangerous places to be a Christian from opendoors.org. OpenDoorsUS.org. There's also Open Doors International. So we're going to read For more than 30 years, the Open Doors World Watch List has reported the global scope of Christian persecution. The list ranks the top 50 places where faith costs the most, to understand the needs of and pray with persecuted Christians. And this is just modern times. This has been happening throughout all of history. One day I'm going to write a book about it. I'm going to do research and I'm going to read a bunch of books. I have a bunch of books in my Amazon wish list about Christian persecution. And I want to go through history from biblical times all the way to modern, to when we see the Crusades and when the Allahu Akbar folk rise up and they start coming after us, to modern times, and just cover the whole breadth of knowledge about Christian persecution. But the top 10 most dangerous places to be a Christian. Hold on, top 10 list. Top 10. We're recording this for video purposes. Top 10 most dangerous places to be a Christian. Christian persecution in modern times across the globe. Let's get into this list. Number 10, Afghanistan. Most Afghan Christians are converts from Islam, which is something worthy of death in that faith. Practicing their faith openly is basically impossible. In Afghanistan, leaving Islam is considered shameful by family and community, and conversion is punishable by death under Islamic law. This has been increasingly enforced since the Taliban took control of the country in 2021. If converts are discovered, the family, clan, or tribe may try to preserve its honor and deal with the convert through pressure, violence, or even murder. If a convert's faith is discovered by the government, many Afghan believers have no other option but to try to flee. Women and ethnic minorities experience additional oppression, so Christians among these groups live under unthinkable pressure. And yet God is still at work in the country. Kada. A believer in Afghanistan shows this firsthand. I continue to be a servant of Christ, following his example of humility and greatness in the difficult Taliban regime. We face challenges, but with strong faith, we persevere. Dude, you just got to get out of Afghanistan, man. You can't be in Afghanistan trying to be a Christian. Iran, same thing. I have a feeling most of these top 10 most dangerous places to be a Christian are going to be in the Middle East. What do you think, guys? You want to make a little wager? What do you think? What are the odds? In Iran, number 9, the Christian community is divided between constitutionally recognized and unrecognized Christians. Unrecognized converts from Islam to Christianity face severe religious freedom violations, primarily from the government and to a lesser extent from society and their families. The government views these converts as a threat, believing they are influenced by Western countries to undermine Islam and the regime. Both leaders and ordinary members of Christian groups are often arrested, prosecuted, and given long prison sentences for crimes against national security. Recognized historical communities such as Armenian and Syrian Christians are state protected but treated as second-class citizens. They face many discriminatory legal provisions and are not allowed to worship in Persian or interact with Christian converts. Those who support converts can also face imprisonment. Number 8, Pakistan. Well, we got, what's up, Quality? We've got 3 out of 3 so far in the Middle East. Pakistan's notorious blasphemy laws are often used to target minority groups, but Christians are disproportionately affected. Indeed, roughly a quarter of all blasphemy accusations target Christians, who make up just 1.8% of the population. Blasphemy laws carry a death sentence, while this is seldom carried out. And you'll see people at these pro-Palestine protests or these pro-Iran, anti-Israel protests. You'll see them with flags, you know, of these Middle Eastern countries, but then they'll have a cross on their neck and they'll say they're Christian. They'll have a gay flag, a freaking Pakistan flag. I know Palestine is different from Pakistan. I'm just saying they'll have some sort of Middle Eastern Hamas garb, and then they'll have a gay flag, and then they'll have a cross on their neck, and they'll say, we're Christians. None of that flies over there. What are you talking about? Blasphemy laws carry a death sentence. While this is seldom carried out, people accused of blasphemy are vulnerable to attack or murder by mobs. In June 2024, an elderly man was killed by mob violence after being accused of desecrating the Quran. The 2023 attack on Christian homes and buildings in the town of Jaranwala continues to contribute to a climate of fear. Historical churches have relative freedom for worship and other activities. However, they are heavily monitored and have been targeted for bomb attacks, like we just saw in the Damascus suicide bombing that just happened the other day. Number 7, Nigeria. Now, according to what Google told us, Nigeria was the worst place. But that could be worst as in the most Christians being killed for their faith in Nigeria. But maybe it's like a per capita thing, that it's actually more dangerous to be in Pakistan or Iran. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm looking. Never mind. There's 7 more ahead of Nigeria though. But they said Nigeria has the most, with more than 4,000, almost 5,000 Christians killed every year in Nigeria alone. Nigeria makes up for the majority of Christians who are killed for their faith. Jihadist violence continues to escalate in Nigeria, and Christians are particularly at risk from targeted attacks by Islamist militants, including Fulani fighters, Boko Haram, and ISWAP, Islamic State West Africa Province. These attacks increased under the rule of former President Muhammadu Buhari, putting Nigeria at the epicenter of the targeted violence against the church. The government's failure to protect Christians and punish perpetrators has only strengthened the militants' influence. While Christians used to be vulnerable only in the Muslim-majority northern states, this violence continues to spread into the Middle Belt and even further south. Attacks are shockingly brutal. Many believers are killed, particularly men, while women are often kidnapped and targeted for sexual violence. Once again, many believers are killed for their faith, and more believers are killed for their faith in Nigeria than anywhere else in the world. And Nigeria is only number 7 on the list. So let's keep going. Eritrea, I don't even know where that is. Eritrea is number 6. Eritrea's persecution landscape is complex. On the church front, the government recognizes only the Eastern Orthodox Church, Catholic and Lutheran churches, and Islam. Converts from Islam or Orthodoxy to Protestantism risk severe mistreatment from their families and communities. Non-traditional churches face the harshest violations from both government and the EOC. For many years, government security forces have conducted house-to-house raids, arresting hundreds of Christians. Number 5 is Sudan. Sudan was on a path towards religious freedom, but a coup and devastating war dashed these hopes. Sudan rose 3 ranks on this year's World Watch list, and Christians are once again in danger. After a year and a half of war, Sudan is now home to the world's largest displacement and hunger crisis, with nearly 9 million people forced to flee their homes. Neither side is sympathetic to Christians, and the conflict has given Islamist extremists more opportunity to target them. More than 100 churches have been damaged so far, and Christians have been abducted and killed. Sudanese Christians who have come to faith from a Muslim background face severe backlash from their families and communities. These believers tend to keep their faith secret, even from their own children. That's because it says in the Quran that if somebody converts, you can chop their head off. You looking up Eritrea on a map? Yeah, I don't know where it is. Ethiopian Christians are crazy too, but not comparable to the Muslims. Number 4 is Libya. In Libya, following Jesus is a huge risk for anyone. Libyan Christians with a Muslim background face violent pressure from their families and communities to renounce their faith. Foreign Christians, especially those from sub-Saharan Africa, are targeted by Islamist militant and criminal groups. These groups kidnap and sometimes brutally kill Christians. Even if they avoid such a fate, sub-Saharan Christians face harassment and threats from radical Muslims. Christians who openly express their faith or try to share it with others risk arrest and violent opposition. The lack of central government to enforce law and order makes the situation even more precarious. Number 4, that's Libya. Number 3 is Yemen. So Yemen is the one I'm hearing most about from certain conservative commentators who aren't afraid of a fatwa being put on their head. But Yemen, when you try to, there's no mainstream reporting on any of this. If you Google Christian killings across the world, all you're going to get is Open Doors International and Open Doors US, and this group, Christian History Institute, globalchristianrelief.org, persecution.org. This is the only news article I found on it, and this is from christianpost.com. But the majority of articles you're going to find are going to come from these .orgs, like persecution.org, Christian History Institute, Global Christian Relief, and the primary one, which is this one, Open Doors US or Open Doors International. Nobody else is really, no mainstream media is reporting on this, but it's happening all over the world. Torn apart by civil war, this is Yemen. Life is very hard for everybody in Yemen, and even harder for Christians. The country is now divided into territory ruled by 3 different powers, as well as some areas held by Al-Qaeda and the so-called Islamic State. None of the powers involved are sympathetic to Christians, and the official constitution upholds Sharia Islamic law and no freedom of religion. The 1% of Yemenis from minority religions are severely marginalized. Relief aid is mostly distributed through local Muslim groups and mosques, which are alleged to be discriminating against anyone not considered a devout Muslim. If someone is reported to be a Christian or involved in Christian activities, they could face severe monitoring, arbitrary detention, torture, ill treatment, and even murder. In Houthi-controlled areas, it's dangerous to possess a Bible or other Christian books. Leaving Islam to follow Christ is seen as a huge betrayal of your native tribe. Punishment by the community can include being disowned, disinherited, divorced, and losing custody of their children, being banished, or even murdered. I think they should self-banish. Get the hell. If you want to convert to Christianity in those countries, get out. You got to run. Run through the desert. Did you see the shooting at the church in Wayne, Michigan? No. When did that happen? Shooting at church, Wayne, Michigan. No, we talked about the Syrian church bombing earlier. Security guard kills Michigan church gunman, preventing large-scale mass shooting. See, that's a good guy with a gun. Were any bystanders killed? Probably not. Michigan church shooting leaves at least 1 injured and gunman dead. An active shooter was killed by church staff after he opened fire in a Wayne church Sunday morning. Do we have a description of the suspect? The City of Wayne Police Department said the suspect started driving recklessly near Cross Point Community Church around 11 a.m., drawing the attention of church staff members. Police said he then exited the vehicle wearing a tactical vest, armed with a long gun and a handgun. According to police, he approached the building and opened fire. That's when a parishioner reportedly struck the suspect with their vehicle. Police say the suspect started firing at the vehicle, and at least 2 church staff members then opened fire on the suspect, killing him. We're going to interrupt the... Is this breaking news? When did this happen? I haven't... They're probably going to show me an ad. We'll come back to that after the ad's done. One of the security guards was shot in the leg. Police say he was taken to a nearby hospital. We are grateful for the heroic actions of the church staff members who undoubtedly saved many lives and prevented a large-scale mass shooting. Their actions prevented dozens of people from being murdered. Okay, here we go. Police say the suspect is Brian Anthony Browning, a 31-year-old man from Romulus. They believe that Browning was suffering from a mental health crisis. He was armed with an AR-15 style rifle, more than a dozen fully loaded magazines, a semi-automatic handgun, and an extended magazine with hundreds of rounds of ammunition. Browning's mother is a member of the church, with police saying he had attended church service there 2 or 3 times over the last year. So he's not one of the Allahu Akbar people, but probably has some mommy issues.
Everybody to the back. Please, everybody come to the back. Come to the back. They gotta come. They gotta come. Come on. Come on. think is a good idea. Come on here.
Damn. That's crazy. That's wild. That's wild. So I didn't even see this story. This must happen while I was sleeping today. I would have had this in the show, but I didn't even see it. Damn. That's crazy. But let's get back to this list. Number 2 is Somalia. In Somalia, following Jesus is a matter of life and death. Al-Shabaab, a violent Islamist military group, is at war with the government and controls large swaths of the country. This group enforces a strict form of Sharia law and is committed to eradicating Christianity from Somalia. They have killed Somali Christians on the spot. The dangers have increased over the years as the militants have increasingly focused on finding and eliminating Christian leaders. Persecution also comes from within their own families. Culture is very religiously conservative. Being Muslim is a huge part of Somali identity, and to reject this is seen as a major betrayal of the whole family. Even suspicion that you might have converted from Islam to Christianity can put your life in great danger from your own community. You could face house arrest, forced marriage, forced Islamic rituals, or even threats to your life. These factors make Somalia one of the most dangerous places in the world to be a Christian. Dang. And the last, number 1 on the list, the most dangerous place in the world to be a Christian is North Korea. So the number 1 spot on the list is not a Middle Eastern country. Still Asian, but North Korea. As it has been for nearly 30 years, North Korea is number 1 on the 2025 World Watch List. If your Christian faith is discovered in North Korea, you could be killed on the spot. If you aren't killed, you will be deported to a labor camp and treated as a political criminal. You will be punished with years of hard labor that few survive. And it's not only, and there's no reporting on this. There's no news on this. We'll hear about Uyghur Muslim camps in China, but I didn't know they're putting people in camps in North Korea. I knew it was commie, it was some commie gobbledygook.
No offense, but it sounds like some fucking commie gobbledygook.
I knew it was like a commie place, but I didn't know that they were putting Christians in labor camps. No mainstream media talks about this. It's not only you who would be punished. North Korean authorities are likely to round up your extended family and punish them too, even if your family members aren't Christians. There is no church life in North Korea. It's impossible to gather for worship or prayer, and even secret worship or prayer puts Christians at a great risk. Official spies could inform on you if they have any indication that you are a Christian, and so could your neighbors or teachers. Recognizing any deity beyond the Kim family, wow. So they're God. That's like in the movie The Interview, when they meet Kim Jong-un or whatever, and he says, "I don't poop. Dave, I don't go to the bathroom." They make the people treat them like gods. This is communism. Take God out of everything and you just make the rulers into gods. This is why Christianity must be involved in politics, because otherwise this is what you end up with. Recognizing any deity beyond the Kim family is considered a threat to the country's leadership. Anti-reactionary thought laws were enacted in December 2020. These made it even clearer that being a Christian or owning a Bible is a serious crime and will be severely punished. While a handful of churches exist for visitors in the capital, Pyongyang, these serve for propaganda purposes only and are no indication of religious freedom in the country. So if any media goes there, or if any politicians come to visit or something like that, if Trump goes there to talk to Kim Jong-un, or is it Kim Jong-un or Kim Jong-il? They all sound the same to me, but if Trump goes there, if the media goes there, they see a church. Just like in the movie The Interview, they'll see grocery stores with food in the capital city, but outside of the city, everybody's being poor and Christians are being sent to labor camps. Crazy. Don't know if China will be on that list because China allows state-approved Bibles in churches. Yeah, it's not. This is number 1 on the list is North Korea. I'm sure it's not great in Christians I'm sure it's not great in China for Christians, but they don't make the top 10 list for most dangerous places. Miraculously, Open Doors estimates there are 400,000 Christians in North Korea, all of whom follow Jesus in secret. They know the risks, but they are continuing to live for Christ. I know the risks involved, says Ju Min. Editor note, Ju Min is a composite of 2 real believers who live in North Korea. The details of their stories have been combined and changed to protect their identities. If I am caught, I could end up in a labor camp paying a heavy price for being a Christian now. Pray for God's people in North Korea. Pray for the estimated 50,000 Christians currently in labor camps. Do not give up hope that God can make a change, and ask that he will protect and strengthen the North Koreans who cling to his promises. That's crazy. And then this website, Global Christian Relief, you can look at Christian persecution in Yemen, Afghanistan, Algeria, Burkina Faso, China, Colombia, Egypt, Eritrea, India, Indonesia, Iran, Iraq, Libya, Maldives, Mali, Mauritania, Mexico, Mozambique, Myanmar, Nepal, Nigeria, North Korea, Pakistan, Saudi Arabia, Sudan, Syria, Turkey, Yemen. More coming soon. The Shia Houthi tribe are backed by Iran. The casualties have been horrific, leaving 150,000 dead, 4 million displaced, and more than 20 million in need of aid. However, the church has grown in this situation, becoming one of the most effective distribution networks of aid. Persecuted Christians are entirely from a Muslim background. Many have turned to Christ in the utter exhaustion of the chaos. So, and Yemen's not even where it's the worst, but I hear a lot of people commenting on Yemen. Yemen at war, Christians in peril, from persecution.org. The world is focused on Russia and incursion into Ukraine. Little attention has been given to the intensifying war in the Middle East, where Yemen has been embroiled in a lengthy ongoing civil war since 2014. Areas of control and conflict. These are all conflict zones. The red is the conflict zones. The blue is the Houthi forces. And then we bomb the Houthis and people get mad. When the Signal Gate thing, they were more focused on some Atlantic journalists getting into a Signal chat and leaking a Signal chat. They were more focused on the Signal chat than the fact that we're bombing the Houthis. They're slaughtering Christians. Nobody cares about that. They care about a Signal chat that got leaked. Another story, 3 American missionaries killed in Yemen. I don't know the date on this. It's from the Christian Post. It's not giving me a date. Then there's the church. That church shooting that we just saw is not an example of Muslim violence against Christians, but it does show it's not just the Muslims who hate the Christians and want to kill them. It's everybody. Lots of people, not everybody, you know what I mean, but it's lots of different people, lots of different groups don't like Christians for all of history. Yemen, a suspected Muslim extremist hiding his gun cradled like a baby, slipped into a Southern Baptist hospital in Yemen on Monday and opened fire, killing 3 American missionaries and seriously wounding a 4th. The suspected attacker, a Yemeni, was arrested, and a Yemeni official said security forces were searching for militant cell that may be targeting foreigners and secular figures in the country. Americans have been repeatedly warned by the U.S. State Department to be cautious in Yemen, a country where the central government authority is weak in tribal areas and where Muslim militants have found refuge. Yemen, the ancestral homeland of al-Qaeda chief Osama bin Laden, has been a key front for the U.S.-led war on terrorism. So, and I think this is an old story, but we've already talked about Syria, the Damascus church bombing that just happened, 20 dead at an Eastern Orthodox church in Syria, or a Greek Orthodox church in Syria. It was an Eastern Orthodox church. in Damascus. Somewhere between 20 and 25 dead from that suicide bombing in Syria that just happened this week. Another church shooting not related to the Middle East or any Muslim activity as far as we know so far. His name's Brian. But yeah, it's just wild. There was the Christian school that got shot up by that transformer. It's a very frequent thing. It's not uncommon, but it kind of goes unreported on a lot of the times, unless it's huge and crazily egregious. They're not talking about this, but they'll tell us all about Israel and Palestine. So that's just a quick run through of the top 10 most dangerous places for Christians, some examples of Christian persecution across the globe, and just pray for Christians everywhere. Jesus said it. He said, when the world hates you, remember they hated me first. We're told that we're going to be persecuted for our beliefs repeatedly in the New Testament, and that we should actually take pleasure in that struggle, take pleasure in that persecution. So, do you know where the name Palestine comes from? What's it mean? The word Palestine is used in the Bible. It's been called Palestine since the biblical times. But I don't know what it means. But yeah, looking at the chat. For the people watching the video in the future, when the video comes out, thank you guys for watching the video. Make sure you hit the like and subscribe. Check out the Monday Night Dreaded Conservative show. We do bits like this and cover topics like this and all sorts of other stuff. News, current events, and interesting information. So check it out, guys. Thank you for watching the video. We out. All right. That was just for video purposes because we recorded that. Philistine. I don't. The word Palestine is used multiple times in the Old Testament before the word Philistine is ever a thing, as far as I know. But maybe, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But the Philistines aren't talked about until the New Testament. Palestine is a place all the way back in Exodus. They're talking about Palestine. Well, not Exodus, but I think the first time Palestine is mentioned is maybe in Judges or Joshua, somewhere around there. Look up the origin of Palestine. Oh, well, I'll take your word for it. I just know that at least in the King James version of the Bible, Palestine is mentioned multiple times in the Old Testament. And the word Philistine isn't used until the New Testament, but I don't know. Maybe you're right. David slayed Goliath the what? Goliath was you saying is Goliath the Philistine? I don't remember that. Goliath was a Canaanite? Gath. I don't remember. I don't remember him ever being. Yeah, the first thing when I look it up says Goliath was not a Philistine. Goliath was from Gath. He's never called Goliath the Philistine. I don't know where you heard that from, but that's not in the Bible. Goliath was just a Philistine? No. I don't know where you guys heard that from, but Bad TV show. Yeah, maybe they said that in like some show or something, but the word Philistine is not, I mean, at least up until 2 Kings, the word Philistine has not been used in the Bible. Palestine is used. Goliath was from Gath. When you type it in, the first thing it says is Goliath was not a Philistine. Goliath came from Gath. And that's in 1 Samuel 22, I believe, 2 Samuel 22, and 1 Chronicles. TV show had him as a son of a fallen angel. That's not very accurate. He's a downline of the giants. The giants were sons of fallen angels, but Goliath was not a pure giant because the giants had already been pretty much wiped out, but there were remnants, and that's what David was. I cannot argue with the Bible. You are correct. I don't know. Maybe it's just people using different words. If Philistine and Palestine mean the same thing, then but still, Goliath was not from Palestine. He was from Gath. So I don't know why they would say that. Sup, Jay, just got here. Question. I think you're a much more educated Christian than myself. Who are the chosen people of God? The elect. I mean, originally it was Israel, but then in the New Testament after Jesus, there's no more Jews and Gentiles. So I think the chosen people of God are just Christian. They're just Christians. They're the people he chose. I would call it the elect. Philistines were warlike and not strangers to the arts of life. Judges. Philistines were enemies of Israel. The Philistines were punished by God. Huh. Well, maybe is that what my translation says? What does Philistine mean? I have to go like right now. Now I'm looking up this. Oh, maybe I'm remembering wrong. 13. Well, I guess I'm just remembering wrong then. Yeah, it does say Philistines. You're right. That's weird, though, because it also uses Palestine. So if they're both... It's probably just... You're right. Well, it says Philistine a lot, actually. I'm looking at it now. So I'm misremembering. There's a lot in here. It's hard to remember all of it. Gath was a Philistine city. So that's just a broad term. Doesn't Philistine just mean not Jewish? Like, what does Philistine mean? Hostile or indifferent culture to the arts, a person who is Yeah. Yeah, it just means non-Israelite. So it really doesn't mean much of anything. Philistine, the Bible talks about the place Palestine. Philistine is just a broad term that means anyone who's not an Israelite. Philistines were non-Israelite people who inhabited the coastal plain of southwest Canaan, modern-day Israel and Gaza. They are frequently depicted as enemies of Israelites who engage in frequent conflict. Yeah, and that coastal area includes all of those things. So that's like saying, it's just like saying foreigner. Hostile or indifferent, right? Nope. Philistia? What? I don't know what you're talking about. I'm not sure what you're arguing, but Philistia was the coastal peoples. Okay, well, yeah, I'm sure Philistia is totally different than Philistine. But I don't understand what point you're making. Are you just like arguing just to argue? Palestine is a place in the Bible. Philistines are people who are not Israelites. So yes, the Palestinians would be Philistines. The Canaanites would be Philistines. So sure, Goliath is a Philistine, but Goliath was from Gath. So when you say Goliath was a Philistine, you're not really saying anything. You're just saying he wasn't an Israelite, which doesn't tell us anything. Doesn't tell us where he was from. It doesn't tell us anything. This is a study you can do in the future. It just doesn't seem interesting. Like, I'm not sure like what point you're trying to make. They just weren't Israelites. Another time I'll explain it. Okay. All right, cool. Because I got to go. I don't have time for this. I don't have time for this. We got to go. It's time to leave. Bomb it all. The Palestines, the Philistines, all of it. Level it. I got to go, guys. I got to go to work. I'm going to be late. I still got to walk Echo, and then I got to call an Uber. An Uber. All right. Who can I raid? Who's live? Shout out Jake. Shout out Abe. I'm not mad at you, Abe. I can't do this through text. I don't know where you're going with this, and I don't have time to look into all this. But I was wrong. The Bible does mention Philistines, but it also mentions Palestine. I was half right. And sure, Goliath was a Philistine, but that doesn't tell us anything except that he wasn't an Israelite. He was from Gath, though. Gath. Gath is how you say lore class is live. I don't know who that is. I'm not sending you to Anson. Why would I send you to him? How about no? Let's not and say we didn't. We'll go to Rob Noor. We'll go to Rob. All right, guys. Thanks for hanging out. God bless everybody. I will catch you tomorrow morning. And lower class, I don't know who it is. I'll have to check it out. I'm not subscribed to him, so I'll look into it. But have a good one. I'll see you tomorrow morning. We out. Peace. God bless. Lower class is what he goes on my own panel.